Hey, what's going on? This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And let me make you think about something for a second. Your kicker is lining up for an onside kick. The chances of regaining possession are slim, the stakes are high, and the tension is higher. Your pulse is racing. He kicks, and you watch as the ball lands. Make every play feel this exciting with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and their unbeatable offers. Right now, new customers can make any $5 NFL bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings step-up same-game parlays. For example, the Saints' big matchup on Thursday night headed to the Big Toaster against the Arizona Cardinals. To make things even sweeter, you can throw down a step-up same-game parlay once per game all season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code SOTS to get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Just place a $5 bet on any football game only at DraftKings Sportsbook using the promo code SOTS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. If you know someone that's dealing with a gambling problem crisis, counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You have to be 21 years of age, physically present in Louisiana. Only $200 in free bets, new customers only, a minimum $5 deposit, a minimum $5 bet, $200 is issued as 8 $25 free bets, must win step-up same-game parlay, 1 token issued per eligible game. Opt-in required, minimum $1 bet. Max bet limits apply, minimum 3 legs each, leg minimum. Minus 300 odds, total bets plus 100 odds or longer. It ends 1/8/23 at 8 p.m. See eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. It's Monday, it's Monday, it's Monday, it's Monday, it's Monday, lose a Monday, lose a Monday, lose a Monday, lose a Monday, but it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, because we here. What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And yes, this is a loser Monday, but nevertheless, we still saying who that. We're still in the land of the living, and all is not lost. Okay, all is not lost. It was very frustrating yesterday. It was very, very, very frustrating yesterday. Looking at these stats, still, I woke up this morning. Who Dat Nation? I'm not gonna lie to you. I woke up this morning with my mind on Jesus, but I also woke up this morning thinking about how in the world did we lose this football game? My goodness, how in the world did we lose this football game? I'm still laughing right now, man, because when you think about it, man, these are for all my OG Saints fans out there. This is like that game reeked of 1998, reeked of 2004, reeked of 90, 93, or whatever, 97, 98. That's the type of game this was. Now, some people probably will say, hey, TJ, do you feel bad about yesterday? And you were upset about Dennis Allen, and you said that the Saints need to move on from Dennis Allen. You don't feel like he's it. Do you still feel the same way Monday morning with a fresh mind? Yes, I do. Look, I'm going to keep on saying this, okay? I was willing to give this dude an opportunity. I was willing to give him an opportunity because we can agree that the Oakland Raiders franchise at the time he was the head coach, they were terrible. They suck. They stink. Okay, fine, whatever. All right. You go to a stable organization like the New Orleans Saints. You go to a stable organization like the New Orleans Saints. You got a good front office. You got a good accounting team. You got good scouts. You got all this stuff right here. All you need to do is to come up with a game plan to help these really talented players get over the hump. And yet, he can't do it. He can't do it, Who Dat Nation. He cannot do it. At this particular point, 6 games in, he cannot do it. Oh, but TJ, the season is just getting started. It's not over yet. True. But when I look around the landscape of the National Football League and I'm watching coaches that aren't as qualified as Dennis Allen has been, this is second head coaching stop. Okay, this is his second stop. And I'm watching Brian Daboll with a come-from-behind victory over a really good Baltimore Ravens team with a depleted offense. Basically, all you got is Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and a bunch of no-name guys that nobody even heard of. But yet, they find themselves 5-1, right? Then I look at the Minnesota Vikings, and I look around, and I look at them, and they're playing well. They only lost, 1 game? I'm looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars and Doug Peterson going out there, and they playing better. But I'm supposed to accept that Dennis Allen, who has way more talent than any one of those dudes that I just named, Dennis Allen, who has way more experience than any of the guys that I just named, for the exception of Doug Peterson, and yet you still can't get the job done. And I am sick and I am tired of watching these interviews, and we talking about we so close, we almost there. I can touch it, I can feel it, I can grab it. I can just, if we can just obtain it, we can put it in a bottle and sell it for $2 for $5. Look, I am tired of hearing about this, man. It comes a time when you just got to call a spade a spade. And you have to ask yourself the question. Here's the question that I want to ask anybody out there that's talking about Dennis Allen and talking about giving him a chance. Somebody please answer this question for me. What does Dennis Allen as a head coach do well? What does he do well in? Somebody answer that question for me. After 6 games, what does Dennis Allen do well as a head coach? I would just like that question to be answered, because I don't see anything that I can just say that he just does well. He doesn't get the team motivated to a point where they just out there playing with their hair on fire. His defense, his calling card, has not answered the bell. It seems like the guys that are on defense have very, very little interest in tackling and being physical at the point of attack. So I'm just wondering to myself, what does Dennis Allen do well? What does he motivate well? That remains to be seen. Does he put a fire under anybody? That remains to be seen. I'm just asking, what do you see? You look at Coach Cincinnati out there in Philadelphia. This man over there yelling and to the top of his lungs, and and fired up, and the players got to push him back off the sidelines. Calm down, coach. And then you see Brian Daboll, fired up, walking through the tunnel, pointing at the people saying, yeah, what's up? You see that energy. What does Dennis Allen give you? What has Dennis Allen done besides put a red Sharpie marker behind his ear? What has he done? What has he done? My answer to you is absolutely nothing. He has done absolutely nothing. And he has basically, man, honestly, this ain't it. This ain't it. What is it? Like, I'm just saying, in all honesty, all jokes aside, what has he done? What has he done? Like, what factor or quality does he have that you feel like, man, we can build on this? I don't see it. I don't see it. And I don't feel bad about saying this, man, because look, being a head coach is way more than just the X's and the O's. Guys got to believe in what you're trying to sell to them. Dudes got to buy in. You got to have accountability. But I don't see any of that stuff. I'm seeing a bunch of starters, not playing, due to injury and stuff like that. And I understand that. But I don't see good situational football. I don't see really good defense. I don't see motivation. I don't see energy out there on the field. I don't see guys flying around. I don't see sure tackling. And I just see, he messed up. Well, it is what it is. That's all I see, man. So to me, I don't feel bad about saying these things about Dennis Allen because I don't think it's going to change. And people are like, man, he may not be a one and done coach, but to me, what can he possibly do next year that he couldn't do this year? Like, what more do you need to see? He flaked out in Oakland, right? Everybody was like, oh, it wasn't his fault. But what are you supposed to do when your calling card is defense and only one quality guy, be that as it may, he's a really good guy. I'm talking Lattimore. What are we supposed to do when that dude is out and your defense is just looking like a mere shell of itself? So what can another year do besides set this team back even further? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man, but I just don't see it. And hey, what's it is, the 17th? I may have to come back and say, man, you know what? Dennis Allen may be the answer, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I doubt it. To me, if this team does not make it, then I just feel like they need to go in a different direction. And like I said, you can't talk about we ain't got Olave, we ain't got Thomas. Look, bro, all these things, it may be true. But you ain't about to tell me that Thomas, Landry, and Olave being out, okay, that's cool. But the Saints still should have won this game. Okay? They still should have won this football game. There wasn't a point in time in this game yesterday that I look at the game and I was like, man, we showed Miss Thomas, we showed Miss Landry, because the Jags that we had out there were out there handling their business. They was catching the ball, they was converting. They wasn't, they wasn't shooting themselves in the foot. So all I'm saying is this: what more do we need to see from this dude? What more can he do? Like, we need to have all hands on deck. Man, bruh, it's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. It's a matter of when your team goes down and you have to dig deep into your depth. Guys are not going to stay healthy. That's just what it is. Guys are going to get hurt, but you have to make sure that the head coach comes up with a game plan in order to get your team over the hump. This dude does not do that. He's way too conservative. He coaches scared, right? I don't see no aggression. I don't see no going for it on fourth down unless it's really like worth it. Like it's a bunch of scared conservative football. And honestly, the guys out there on the field are playing scared and conservative. They're playing very conservative. I see a bunch of guys making business decisions, not only off the field, but on the field too, in my humble opinion. And I just think that is affecting the team. It's sad, man. It's sad that you have all this talent on this team, and yet you cannot be able to win a very, very weak NFC South. There's no way. And then you lose to a team in the Carolina Panthers that's sending their wide receiver to the locker room because they're going at it on the sidelines. These are the type of things that tells me that you're not good enough. And everybody was like, man, well, the Arizona Cardinals don't look good, but neither did the Carolina Panthers. And the Saints still lost. So how are we supposed to be able to get any type of motivation from a guy like this when your defense is trash and you was a defensive coordinator and guys don't seem like they're very inspired to play at a top level, even guys that have been in the league and have a reputation for playing at a high level. So to me, I don't know what more we need to see from a guy like Dennis Allen. To me, as of right now, he should be a dead man coaching. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what else you can. I don't know what else you can gain from this. I don't, because the offense wasn't the reason why they lost yesterday. Like Mike, you know what I'm saying? Like Michael Thomas or Chris Olave. I don't look. There was, like I said, there was not a time yesterday I just felt like they were missed. I mean, it was just the defense wasn't able to do anything. I mean, what the Cincinnati Bengals, 60% on third down? Like, are you kidding me? They only had like 50 some odd offensive snaps. What are we doing? What are we doing? So I don't know, man. I don't know about y'all. I'm pretty sure you got a lot of people out here that's pretty optimistic. That's cool, man. But me, look, I just think that even the games that the Saints have won, they kind of won like in spite of Dennis Allen. You know, like the game last week versus the Seattle Seahawks. Like the Seattle Seahawks offense lit them boys up like a Christmas tree, right? Geno Smith was out there looking like the second coming of Joe Montana on a Dennis Allen defense, right? But the Saints still found a way to win, right? The Atlanta Falcon game, you know, they won because of a fourth quarter heroics. The defense wasn't out there, you know what I'm saying, flying around and doing anything that was just that spectacular. They made a few stops or two, but if you look at this, Dennis Allen defense has been leaking oil for the last couple of weeks. And I'm just kind of off it. I'm kind of off this whole Dennis Allen thing. I just think that the Saints probably going to win some games, but it's not going to be because of Dennis Allen coaching. I just don't get anything from this dude at all. We losing already. Might as well get risky. Well, look, I mean, what would that benefit? What would that benefit? Because right now, I'm going to be honest, the Saints coaching staff and organization, they looking like they don't know what the heck they doing. They don't. Like, you're basically right now gift wrapping the Philadelphia Eagles a top 10 pick, which makes you look even terrible. Then on top of that, the guy that you basically sent to the Philadelphia Eagles for some magic beans just caught an interception on national TV against the Dallas Cowboy team in a do or die situation for the NFC East lead. So you basically squandered a trade as well as two trades in the course of a year. That's pretty embarrassing, man. And it's pretty embarrassing. And then you follow that up by hiring a guy that doesn't look like he's the answer. So it's looking pretty bad out here in New Orleans when it comes to the front office. Guys that have been known for being competent and coming up with the cap wizardry and all that kind of stuff, they're looking like they a bunch of buffoons right now. Like, you gave away a guy that is beneficial to another team's secondary. At the same time, this team has the best record in the league. They're the way they're going right now, they're going to end up being the number one seed. So they're going to get the number one seed. They'll probably have a 20-some-odd pick in the draft for their first round, and then they'll turn around and have a top 10 pick. So basically, you're making a really good team even better by the decisions that you actually made, because you're not making the playoffs. As the thing's going right now, the Saints aren't making the playoffs. Like, let's just call it for what it is. Right now, you lost 4 games, right? So in order for the Saints really to honestly make the playoffs, the Saints going to have to go on like some type of 4 or 5 game winning streak in order for them to even stay afloat in this particular thing. And does anything tell you that this team is capable of going on a 5-game winning streak? Yeah, you see a couple good plays here and there, but where's the consistency? Well, I mean, I've been hearing shooting yourself in the foot for weeks. I've been hearing cleaning up for weeks, and yet we're still in the same position. So what confidence do we have in this team going forward to believe that they can just turn it around, besides looking at the names on the back of jerseys? Yeah, we're looking at the name of the back of the jerseys, but the guys that we're counting on are the ones making the mistakes. So what are you supposed to do from there? And also, what are you supposed to do when you played a game that was perfectly executed when it comes to game plan offensively? You did everything you needed to do to win. Control the time possession, run the football down their throat, win the turnover battle, and you still lose. So where do we go from here? Where do we go? Jameis won the first game. Tyrann is playing fine. Y'all are straight tripping off of one play. My dude.
Man, get your ass off that stage.
Man, you tripping. Man, you tripping right now, Dylan. I love you, man. Appreciate the comment, but, bruh. Okay. He missed the tackle with Laviska Shenault that resulted in a touchdown. He missed the tackle with Jamar Chase that resulted in a touchdown. Last week, he missed the tackle with DK Metcalf he wanted no part of that resulted in a touchdown. So that's 3 times that he was the last line of defense and he couldn't get the guy down on the ground. That's 3 touchdowns. That's 3 long-range touchdowns. So anybody that's out here criticizing Tyrann Mathieu today is warranted because the dude is playing softer than cottonelle tissue, softer than a loaf of bread. Like he's playing, like he is not playing like the all-pro that he is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if he just kind of like phoning it in and maybe this is like his victory tour playing for the hometown team or what. But he's not playing like the Tyrann Mathieu we thought that we were going to get. Like basically this dude is playing like a lemon, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, y'all know what a lemon is. You go to the car dealership, they got the turtle wax on there, double coated, shining like a pork chop, as my cousin Darren used to say back in the day, shining like new money. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, you start that thing up and it sounds like, you know, like that's what it sounds like right now. That's what he is. He is a lemon, right? That's what he's playing like a straight up lemon, right? Limited fresh is Tyrann Mathieu right now. And I don't feel bad about saying this because we all know what he's capable of. We know this dude is capable of making plays. Now, I don't know. Maybe the last couple of years he has had issues with concussions. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's messed with his psyche somehow, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the tackling. I don't know. But whatever it is, they need to fix it or they need to find somebody else that's going to be able to come in. But I don't know who you can bring in. Who can you bring in right now? I mean, shouts out to my guy, DJ Swearinger. Maybe you need to give him a call. You know, I mean, you need some help at cornerback, Jackrabbit Jenkins. Maybe you need to call him up. Maybe you need to bring some other guys in order for them to be able to maybe get a little bit of a spark. But this right here, this is not working. This ain't working. Marcus May is really good at run, you know, at stopping a run. He's really good at that. He's been injured. I mean, it's just so hard for me to just sit up here and just defend Tyrann Mathieu after he's been playing as soft as he has. And he's talented. We all know how great he is. Could be arguably the greatest LSU Tiger to ever play at LSU and one of the best safeties in the league. But he isn't playing like it. He's playing like a mere shell of himself. He's playing like a guy that has retired, but he's the only one that knows about it. You know, like that's what he's playing like. You know, maybe he retired in his mind, maybe just not on the field, but they need to figure out something. CJ Garner-Johnson left with a hand injury too. TJ, you are right. I can't take it. We are missing every opportunity to take over the South. Or who you think should replace him? I don't know who they need to replace him at this particular point. You know, they got new stars. Coaches come out every single year. I haven't really thought about it. Because honestly, I've been really focused on trying to give him an opportunity to change this narrative that he has. But if it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, looks like a duck, then guess what? It's not a Kodiak bear. It's a duck. And he is what he is at this particular point. I don't think, like, there's the thing about it is, Who Dat Nation, nobody's coming through that door to save these boys. Nobody. There's nobody. Like, you know, maybe you have some issues with the quarterback position. Drew Brees hurt with a hand injury. Oh, Drew coming back, man. Just weather the storm until Drew get back. But we ain't got no Drew Brees, right? Sean Payton, he got COVID, you know, a couple times, you know, missing a game. Okay, you know, like Sean, you know, like he'll be back next week and we'll be back and better than ever. But who is coming through that door now? Who's coming through that door that can be able to save what this is right now? Absolutely nobody. And this team has no reason to be 2-4. There's no way based on, I don't care if you are missing Landry. I don't care if you are missing Thomas. I do not care. If Sean Payton was coaching this team, there's no way in the world this team would be 2-4. There's no way. These boys are coaching scared. They're coaching conservative. They're coaching not to make a mistake. But in reality, they're coaching like what their record indicates. A very careful team that don't want to make a mistake, that don't want to step on toes. Like, to be all honest, in all honesty, the way that they the way that they played that in the first half, going to halftime, they played it all the way down to the wire, so Joe Burrow won't be able to get the ball back. I'm gonna let y'all know something right now. It's little stuff like that that tells me that these boys coaching scared, because there's no way in the world that Sean Payton would care who's on the other sideline. He don't care. Like, he will actually take that as a challenge. Like, look, we about to score. Let them get the ball back. Let's see if they can be able to score before halftime. But those are the type of things that you need to motivate your team. How about going for it on 4th down if it's 4th and 1? Instead of like, well, the statistics say we should punt from here. How about going for it? If you don't get it, cool, whatever. But trying to go for it on 4th down and do or die situations, like, they're too freaking conservative for my liking. And you're coaching scared, and it's only a matter of time when guys are going to start whispering. Now you're 2-4. But if you lose against the Cardinals, it's going to be a little bit of whispers, and then you're going to really end up losing the locker room, because everybody going to be trying to put their 2 cents in and saying what we need to do to win. It's bad, man. It is bad. Like, I hate scary coaching. I just hate it. I hate scary coaching. Like, you got to have a little bit of swag and confidence in yourself. And I don't feel bad about looking at these players, because the players are supposed to be the representation of a coach. And the way that this team is looking, they look exactly how Dennis Allen has been coaching. Mr. Brown, yes, it's the whole team, including our coaching staff. Can't blame the front office for giving Dennis a chance. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not mad at him for giving him a chance. But we see what it is. What more do you need to see? What more do you need to see what you have not seen already? I'm not thinking playoffs. Man, look, I don't see it, man. Saints organization is like, well, since DA been around for years, let him head coach, because he's been here for a long time. He has no business being a head coach for nobody. Linda, look, I don't even want to say that. I believe in giving guys a second chance. I feel like the world is a place of second chances, right? I don't have no problem with them giving them second chance. But you basically looking like the same coach you was when you was in Oakland. Like, you wasn't winning no games. And like I said, close but no cigars, that ain't good enough for me, okay? That, like, save that for the Detroit Lions of the world with Dan Campbell. Like, yeah, we on the cusp. We almost won. Like, I can name at least about 8 or 9 games the Lions played last year that they were close in the thick of things. But guess what that got them? Absolutely nothing. They didn't get them anything. It got them what? The number 2 pick in the draft. That's what it got them. Close but no cigars. Oh, they played tough. We going to be gritty and tough. We going to be biting ears and biting elbows and all that kind of stuff in Detroit. And you getting Aiden Hutchinson in the draft. So what does that mean at all? We going to be tough. We going to be gritty. Okay, tough and gritty. What does that get you? That got you a 2-4 record and looking like you about to be picking in the top 10. So I'm not mad at them trying to get this dude another opportunity, because, look, there ain't nothing wrong with that. If you screw up, make a few mistakes, you learn along the way, you become better. You ever been on a vacation? You ever been on a vacation somewhere and you go out there and you end up spending a little bit more money than you had to? Then let's just say the following year you go to the same place. Right? You're going to learn from the mistakes. I remember the first time I went out to Miami with my homeboys, right? The first time we went out there, we landed in Fort Lauderdale and we got a rent-a-car, right? Rent-a-car, $400 or $500 extra than we had to spend. Not realizing all we had to do was just Uber from Fort Lauderdale to Miami, and we would have saved a bunch of money, and we could have just Ubered everywhere and just saved money that way. That's what we did the second time around. So we learned from our mistakes. You learn from your mistakes the first time around, right? So I understand about giving him another chance, but what I'm realizing is maybe it wasn't the Raiders organization, maybe it was the individual. And it's not to say that he's a bad coach. He's not. Some people just not designed to be head coaches, and I just feel like at this time he's one of those individuals. I understand there's not a lot of great coaching hires out there, but there's got to be at least 5 other coaches better than Dennis Allen. I agree. I don't know what the landscape is as of right now, but we do know this, fate of a Saint. There's always a star, out there somewhere. Like, I didn't know who Matt LaFleur was. I didn't know who McConnell was. I didn't I knew who Kevin Stefanski was. Like, I knew who that guy was, but every now and then you see a guy who's coaching, like Hackett out there in Denver. Like, I didn't know that guy. So there are guys that are, like Dorsey, you know what I'm saying? Like Dorsey out there, I want to say in Buffalo, like that. There's guys that, I remember when Ken Dorsey was playing at Miami. That's how long ago I've been watching the game, but there are stars being born. Heck, even Joe Brady. I mean, you see like coaches that and then there's always some guys that's flying under the radar that you may not have heard of, but they may end up being really good coaches. TJ, glad to you see we won't make the playoffs. I feel the same way. Look, man, I ain't here to sugarcoat nobody, all right? Look, I'm not here to instill optimism in people. If I feel like it's worth instilling optimism, I'm going to do it, but I ain't lying to nobody about my feelings and my views about anything. Like right now, this is a bad football team. The Saints, to me, one of the worst football teams in the NFL. Like, we can talk about talent and all that kind of stuff there. Man, I don't believe that. Look, you are what your record indicates you are. And right now, looking at this team, and watching them yesterday, what they say, stealing the stealing defeat out of the jaws of victory. You know what I'm saying? Like how in the world can you really just look up at this team and just be like, man, no, it ain't. That's to me, that's cowboy Atlanta Falcon denial right there. When you don't want to look at a team and just realize that they're not good. That's like Atlanta Falcons, like throughout the years, man. All we gotta do. Like, we laugh at teams like this, but it's our turn. Who that nation? Here's the reality. Here's what we are today in 2022. We are a bad football team. We cheer for a bad football team. It is what it is. I'm not here to sugarcoat. This is a bad football team right now. This is a team that cannot get out of their own way. You know who can't get out their own way? Bad football teams. I'm not here to argue with anybody, but I'm just telling you the truth. It's time to realize that. You ever had that look in the mirror and you had to make some changes in your life? You had to have that tough conversation with your reflection. That's what it is. That's what it is today, folks. 6 weeks in, this is a bad football team. And I don't see any signs of letting up, to be honest. Do I see Dennis Allen 3 years as a head coach in the Big Easy? Nah, but I may be wrong. And dude is wearing too many hats as a coach. I don't know about that, man, David. I don't know about that. Thank you for the $5. I don't know about him wearing too many hats because we've seen Sean Payton on the opposite side do the same thing. Like, we've seen him call the offense and still be able to handle the day-to-day operations of the team. I just think that it takes a special guy. In order for you to be able to call plays and also be able to facilitate it. He hasn't mastered that. And to be honest, I don't think he ever will. B. Thomas, thank you very much for the $4.99, says, why DA not holding anyone accountable, including himself? I don't know if he's not holding people accountable or not, but it doesn't seem like it's working if he does. And that's very alarming to me. That's very alarming to me that what the problem is, you're addressing the problems, and yet the problems continue to show up every single week. That's alarming to me. So it's rather guys aren't listening, rather you don't have the right guys, or even worse, like they just not being receptive of you. Our safety play has been a disaster. Saints haven't been getting any turnovers at all. They got one turnover this entire they got one interception this entire season, 6 weeks in. Wonder Bread. Yeah, Wonder Bread soft. Man, Saints look like they are. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I don't think the dual defensive coordinator thing working too well. Look, I'm not even blaming them guys, okay? I'm not blaming anybody that I know for a fact they ain't really been instrumental in real time like that. Like, we all know that when Sean Payton was the head coach, he was calling the plays. Now, Pete Carmichael has been the offensive coordinator throughout the years, but if you've been following this show, I used to say that Pete Carmichael was on juicy fruit duty, right? His job basically, the the sugar run out of the juicy fruit gum of Sean Payton, he needs some more, he going to run and get it. Because Sean Payton was the one that was out here calling the plays. He was the one that was putting the game plan together. You can talk about Pete Carmichael and all that kind of stuff there, but we all know who was running the show. I feel like it's ridiculous. I won't say it's ridiculous, but I just feel like I can't say on one hand it's Sean Payton's fault when the offense wasn't running when he was calling plays, and then on the other hand, not blame Dennis Allen, who is calling the defensive plays, and turning around and blaming Ryan Nielsen and Chris Richard. I just feel like you basically just flip the script. You got a guy who's calling the defensive plays, coming up with the defensive game plan on top of head coaching, just like Sean Payton was calling the offensive plays and coming up with the offensive game plan, and we wasn't blaming Pete Carmichael. So why should we sit up here and blame Ryan Nielsen and Chris Richard? Because we all know that, okay, they got that title, but we know who really calling the plays. I can't blame those guys for that. Just like, I mean, if you're not going to blame Pete Carmichael for the ineptitude of the Saints losing because the offense wasn't moving, then I don't feel like it can be the same way with the defense. Like, I'm blaming Dennis Allen because Dennis Allen is the one that's calling these plays. Honey Badger washed up. We could have paid Marcus Williams long term. Yeah, could have, but we see what happened. We need help on all levels, including coaching. He needs to play nickel. He can't tackle running backs and tight ends. He's too small. I mean, that didn't stop him from doing that for years. I can't accept that. I mean, he was able to do it back in the day. So what's the difference this year versus all the other years? Maybe we're just wrong about the hype of getting Honey Badger. KC didn't want him. Look, I don't know, man. I don't know if they sold the Saints a lemon or not. I don't know. I just think that it doesn't seem like to me like he really just dialed in to playing football right now. I just think that I don't see hunger. I don't see desire when I'm seeing them on the field. I just see guys that just out here that we just gonna run out here and we just gonna do our thing, get paid on Tuesdays and we straight. I don't see desire. I don't see passion from anybody like that. Like, there's only a few guys on this team I can really say I see passion from, and I probably can count them on one hand. Taysom Hill is one of them. Chris Olave is another. All the rest of the guys, when I think about it, like they just out there. Like they're just out there just playing. Like I don't see that same energy. I mean, you could put P. Warner in there too. I can't forget about P. Warner and DeMario Davis. He is trying to lead by example, but okay, P. Warner, Taysom Hill, Chris Olave, like the main three guys I see that just goes out there week after week that plays with an undying passion to win. The rest of these dudes, I just look at them like they just out there, and that's a bad look. Like I don't see it's a whole different type of energy that they had out there. It's just a whole different energy. It's just like just a bunch of guys out there. It's like you go to the park and you just assemble four guys that don't even really know each other, but y'all just gonna go out there and try to play basketball together and develop chemistry in real time. That's what it looks like to me. There's no passion, there's no swag, there's no drip, there's no confidence, there's no nothing. I'm about to go ahead and open up the line so I can hear what you all have to say. Thank you all so much. Shouts out to everybody commenting in the chat. We got 312 people watching this right now. I ask that you hit the like button. Shouts out to everybody once again that's here. Those that are not in the chat, thank you all so much. Thank you to everybody that's watching behind the scenes. Appreciate that. At this point, I can see the Saints organization making significant trade acquisitions with some of our favorite players at the end of the season. Might have to do that. And the Jets people we expect are doing very well. The Giant Jacksonville is Jacksonville, but they're getting better. Better than what the Saints been doing, to be honest. What's up, TJ? Good show. Unspoken, thank you. Corey says, I think they should have went for it on fourth down before that miserable punt. I can understand why they didn't go for it, to be honest with you. They was on the opposite side. They was on their own. They was on their own, 30-yard line or something like that. So I can understand why they wouldn't go for it there. Real talk, Saints are bad. It's bad football team, but they're my bad football team. Yeah. Not a deal breaker for me, but I just think we just have to come to that conclusion. Talent only gets you far. When I was in the Army, we had skills as soldiers. With great training, we became better It was our leadership that took us to Iraq and made sure we got home. Faith-based workplace, thank you very much. Thank you for your service, first and foremost. We appreciate that. Shouts out to my brother Sam. You know, he served in Iraq and Afghanistan, 3 tours of that. You know, shouts out to him. I know he's probably watching right now, man. I love you, man. And shouts out to all the members of the armed forces that may be watching it, former veterans. Thank you so much for your contribution. But yeah, you know, like it's about leadership, you know, and your attitude reflects that. And sometimes, you know, when things are at its bleakest, you got to be able to look in the eyes of your leader and know that that guy has your best interest at heart. Like, I'm gonna follow this guy. You know, you gotta have that same type of energy. You know, if you don't have that, then it could like make a lot of people just second guess you as a leader in general. We're horrible right now, bro. I feel the same about my Bucks, brother. I think we're seeing the obvious. What you're seeing is 2 really good coordinators that don't have any business being a head coach. Seriously, I think that's what we see. When you have talent but can't win, that's coaching 10 times out of 10. You are as good as your leader. We might not have a positive record. I believe we won't, the way things are going right now. TJ will be seller at the trade deadline. I don't know. I don't know who will. I honestly don't know if you can bring somebody in here that's just going to change the way that this team is playing, because to me, it's more internal than anything. You know, it's more internal. Like, I don't see it changing. Tragic 504 says currently, I would say in order best to worst, Atlanta, Bucks, Saints, and the Panthers. Yeah, it's pretty bad right now. Jim Haslett Saints started 1-4 and was in the playoffs. The NFC South is trash right now, and that alone gives Saints a chance with a lot of football left, but been away. I understand. Look, all I'm saying, look, I'm gonna be real. I don't care if we are just talking about playoffs. If we just talking about playoffs, then that would be okay. But I just feel like based on this talent that they had on this team at the beginning of the season, based on the offensive weapons that we had, based on the defensive additions that we brought into it, like basically us just talking about skeeting it, you know what I'm saying, sliding into the playoff, you know what I'm saying, scooting on up in that thing, it just don't work for me. And seriously, like based on the undisciplined play, based on, you know, them shooting themselves in the foot week after week, what makes you honestly believe that if they were to go into the postseason, they'll be able to make any type of noise? I don't want to just be like, oh, we're in the playoffs. Oh, thank you. So I can feel good when I talk to an Atlanta Falcon fan or a Bucks fan. Well, at least we made the playoffs. We got off in that thing. I don't care about that. I want to win. I want to win. I don't know about y'all, but I want to win. Like, I don't care about moral victories. This team has been too good over the years for us to be sitting up here hoping and wishing and praying that they win and talking about moral victories. See, this is deeper than just making the playoffs. See, what do we like? I don't want to just make the playoffs. I want to go to the freaking Super Bowl. I want to go deep into the playoffs. I want to be in the Super Bowl. Man, forget the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Forget just making it to the playoffs. I, as a fan of this team, based on what they have on this team, I want to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm not talking about moral victories. I'm not looking at what the conference looks like, because just because you make it to the playoff is still not going to absolve you of the ineptitudes that has been plaguing your team throughout the entire year. It's not. I cannot accept that, man. How many years have we went to the playoffs, lost, right? Who cares at the end of the day? Like, did you just care? Like, well, did you go to sleep that night after the loss to the Minnesota Vikings and say, man, well, at least we made the playoffs. Well, at least we made the playoffs. Like, I mean, this team is supposed to be better than what they have shown. This team is supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. This team has the talent to go far in the playoffs. At least they were supposed to, but you're looking at this team. This team is 2-4 right now. So I don't feel like it's just about venting. I don't like you can believe what you want to believe. If you just okay with the Saints making the playoffs, fine, but not me. Okay, I got bigger fish to fry as a Saints fan. I want this team to be in a Super Bowl. I don't care about the playoffs. I don't care about just making the playoffs. That sounds like to me like I just want to go to work with a Cowboy fan and say, well, we made the playoffs too. Or go if we stand in Atlanta, well, look, man, at least we made the playoffs. That ain't good enough for me. That ain't good enough for me, man. You know, that is not good enough for me. Especially what you see on the sidelines. This just don't make no sense. This is Falcon. This is like Falcon optimism that we talking here. If you like, man, well, at least we can make. I mean, at least we can make the playoffs. The NFC South don't look too good. That's desperation talk. That like we have been the class of the NFC South for the majority of the decade. The Saints. How many heartbreaking losses have we had in the playoffs? And we just content at just making the playoffs? How many double-digit seasons of wins do we have? And then all of a sudden, we lose in the playoffs. I just don't want to just make the playoffs. I want to go to the freaking Super Bowl. I'm serious, man. Like moral victories and all that kind of stuff like that, man. Save that for the teams that ain't been to the playoffs. And I don't know how long, okay? Save that for the people that don't have much to cheer for. And, you know what I'm saying, you basically can lay out across about 3 seats at a stadium because your team is trash and ain't nobody showing up. Save that for them, not for the teams that has had one of the best regular season records over the last 5 years, only to the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that has won 4 consecutive NFC South titles. We should not be just thinking about making the playoffs. With talent on this team like we have, we shouldn't just be talking about playoffs. We should be talking about Super Bowl. Anybody that's out here that's talking about, well, let's just make the playoffs, I don't know. I ain't talking like that, man. I'm not. I can't get down with that. But I put the link down in the chat, so if you want to dial in, chime in, feel free to do so. Man, we better get aggressive in the all season. I mean, you should have about $23 million over the cap, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I think you should be like, what? Yeah, you should be over the cap. We're going to go to the right. How you doing, man?
Hey, what up, TJ? How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, man. Thank you for chiming in. What you got for us?
Same, my man. First of all, hats off to you and all the veterans out there, like you said. And TJ, I appreciate your work, man. Love what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
TJ, this is something that, and I stand to be corrected. At any time I'm on someone's podcast, just giving my views.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the coaching staff,
mm-hmm.
and you look at the scenario that took place with the coaching staff,
right.
I'm uncomfortable with the fact that when we hear the word accountability,
mm-hmm.
the first thing we think of is players.
Right.
But when Sean Payton was there,
mm-hmm.
Sean Payton not only held the players accountable, but he held the coordinators accountable.
Right.
For every decision that they made. And you can tell that based on how that play when the interception was made by PJ and he scored, the first thing Dennis did was ran up to Sean Payton as though he to basically say, hey, man, did you see what I just did? Did you see what I just brought up?
Yep.
That's when you know you got that respect.
Right.
When your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinators are at the point where they understand that this is my job.
Right.
See, that's what Sean Payton put inside of his coordinators. If you ain't doing the job, you're replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell by the way that they coached, because they coached like that under Sean Payton.
Yep.
They coached in a sense like, man, this is my gig. And Dennis Allen's case looked like, inside of the when it comes to the organization, they kept those coordinators around him
mm-hmm.
to basically save him.
Right.
But in a sense like that, you can't do that because you got to put him in a situation where he has total, even though you say he has total control, if he have the opportunity to bring in and make the decision on what he wants, no, I want this guy as my offensive coordinator. I want this guy as my defensive coordinator. when you're giving a press conference that, we kept everybody in place because of the fact we know that was encouraged by the organization, which means that, Dennis, you don't really have total control. We say you do, but you really don't.
Right.
Because if you had total control, then we're not going to tell you to run two people as a defensive coordinator. You pick who you want.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to tell you run this guy as your offensive coordinator. You pick who you want. I don't want you to sit there and convince Pete. Once you ask Pete and Pete tell you no, then go get who you want.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Makes sense.
so when you look at it from that perspective, and you look at what's going on, and you're like, you know what? I'm looking at this play call. It's 3rd and 4, and we got, basically marking the game, and it's 3rd and 4, and we know that with Kamara being back there, defenses have to be on everybody head has to be on the swivel. Why are we making that offensive decision by putting him in the game? You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at things from a coach's perspective. Of course, I agree with everything you say when it comes to players. But when you think about it from a coaching perspective, you know what? If you tell me that, okay, Darryl, I'm gonna give you a job, and here's the deal. I want you to go put your team together, but this is what I need accomplished. I'm going to go pick the best people that I think can fit what I want to accomplish. And guess what? If I don't have any outside influence, then I'm thinking I'm going to assemble what I think is best. But when you tell me in my ear, well, you know what? I would like to keep him because of the fact that, he understands Sean Payton's system, and I think he'll be the best guy for you. And the two guys that you have back there, those two guys will make the best decision. But you know what? We're going to give you full reins over the defense. Yeah, because I'm going to still be over there. Dude, you're not allowing yourself to be a head coach. You're allowing yourself to be the person they put there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I completely understand what you're saying, but I think what the Saints and Dennis Allen were probably looking at is the fact that this wasn't like a traditional coaching hire. Like Sean Payton stepped down. It wasn't because the team wasn't good enough. It wasn't the fact that the coaches wasn't good enough at their jobs. It was more so like he was just, he just wanted to step down. So it's easier to explain like, okay, you still got the same, you got a good infrastructure here, right? Versus like if this, I don't know, if it's like a bad team that only won like one game. Like let's just say Carolina or whatever. Like whoever comes in with them, they can be able to like just tear that whole thing down because whatever happened and working. So I mean, but what do you do when your secondary coach had your secondary last year looking like they were like really, really good? Your defensive line coach, had them boys like rolling towards the end of the season. You want to keep them on board. I just think that Dennis Allen at this particular stage, he has no power because he hasn't earned it. Like he the reason why they got to make these decisions is because he hasn't earned anything. Like you got to earn the right to be able to make some of these decisions. This dude, like before he even came to the Saints, he was 8-28 as a head coach. What can an 8-28 head coach tell a general manager? Well, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like, man, go sit down somewhere, But at the end of the day, I do agree with you. I do believe that the reason why they hired Dennis Allen had a lot to do with they wanted to keep the plan in place. I don't feel like he probably was the best option. I feel like you probably could have got something else. As Saints fans, I mean, look, we're going to give it a chance. We trust the organization. But as of right now, like I said, I don't feel like this the right direction to go in. There's a certain edge I feel like a head coach is supposed to have, and Dennis Allen doesn't have it, in my opinion. He just doesn't.
I agree.
Yeah, but I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, man, appreciate you, man. Love your work and keep doing what you're doing, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you again.
And next time, get an Uber, my man.
Yeah, I did get an Uber. That was saying, like, I would know. I normally like go out to Miami. I normally go out to Miami with my college buddies, like every single year, right? So that was the first time we went, and of course, like when you first go somewhere, you really don't know how to get around. But the second time, that's when we started Uber everywhere. So you live and you learn, all right? But
man, I live in Orlando, and when I go down to Miami, I get an Uber.
Yeah. I learned the hard way, man. I lost a couple $100 on that deal, but hey, I learned from it. Appreciate it, man. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. You live and you learn. Okay, you live and you learn. Took the rental car the first time, got the Uber the second time. All right. So Hey, it is what it is. All right, we're gonna go to Quinn. Quinn, how you doing, man?
What's going on, loved one?
All right, what you got for me?
I mean, I told you from the jump what it was. I told you it was the coach. You remember I told you after the
Yeah, I
Falcons
remember.
game.
I remember.
But the thing is, I used to be a coach at one point, and I understand where it's like you'd rather lose in the beginning than the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, we lost 4 games. I think for some reason the way they look, if you just pay attention to the team, it seems like they got something up their sleeve themselves. And I feel like this they plan. I feel like he probably, I don't know if it's real or not, but in my head, I feel like if anything, they're setting themselves up to where they making sure everybody healthy and we can all play together. And once we do that, I think that's when we're good. And I think this upcoming week, I think that's when we'll start seeing everything come to play, because regardless of him being like the problem, we all know he's the problem, but it's like at the end of the day, he's not on the field. So once everybody go on that field, we gonna handle our business. And I think that's all it is. It's just everybody getting into their own thing. And everybody, I think what happened was too, I think when he traded, bro, I think they did something inside that locker room. And I think it's because I feel like cause I feel like it's another reason why they really traded him. I don't think it was the money. I think it was probably had some problems or something. And
Quinn, it was Alontae Taylor. I don't know if you remember this, but
mm-hmm.
you remember when Tyrann Mathieu tweeted right after that trade, he was like, it's amazing what organizations do. They don't go with the best player. They go with the draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
So and he deleted that. And then all of a sudden, like the next thing you know, here comes C.J. Gardner-Johnson getting traded. The reason he got traded was the arrogance of the New Orleans Saints. The arrogance was anybody can play your spot, and we got this kid named Alontae Taylor that we gonna bring in, and he's gonna give us the same level of production. But I said this, man. I like C.J. Gardner-Johnson's energy, you know what I'm saying, is high. And I do think that you missed that, but I don't honestly believe that that's the main reason why this defense is struggling the way that it is.
Oh, no, I ain't saying that's why they're struggling. I just feel like it's a chemistry thing that's happening to where they don't trust him because of that situation, because they feel like, oh, so you're going to just, they trade him for nothing, basically. Like, they ain't even get a washing machine. Like, they literally just traded this man. So it's like, they probably in their head, like, bro, tweaking already. And it's like, I think, like I said, I think this week coming up, this one we're gonna start seeing them win, because we only lost really, like, I think it's only one game we really lost. We really haven't really lost. We just beat every game we really lost was all like we beat ourselves legit. It was never nothing like we couldn't win. Even when people was out, we still could have won. We still could have won that game. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, bro not gutsy. You can see it, because me, in my opinion, what I would have did yesterday was they should have just used that little Tyson thing, especially around that little late minutes. Y'all should have the ball and did what y'all was doing. Y'all should have ran one good time with Tyson just to distract the thing. I'm talking about the last drive when we had that. We were right there. All you had to do was get him one time, let him run up there. Then you go do that with Kamara. And then you throw the ball. You get what I'm saying? But they started throwing. They just started. I feel like they went straight panic mode when they just started throwing the ball the way they was throwing. It was just ridiculous.
Way too many passing plays for Taysom Hill for my liking. Like,
like what is you doing?
I don't mind. Like, honestly, I don't mind the Taysom Hill deep pass to Kevin White. Put a little bit more on that. That's a touchdown. But having them rolling out to the right and all that kind of, I just felt. The way that you played him last week was perfect.
Perfect.
It was perfect. And I just feel like this is what they should have done. They should have added what they did last week versus Seattle with a bit of bad power, and also be able to account for some of those plays that you had as a tight end. That's what I like. It's crazy that he changed over to being a tight end. But one of the plays that he's actually running involve him playing any role, any position of a tight end. Like no routes, no nothing.
You know what they doing? You know, you played football in high school or something like that. It was always that one coach that always didn't like what the head coach was doing. He was always talking. Right. I feel like he's the man that I'm on there. I'm still good.
Yeah, you good. You good, man.
But yeah, I was he wanted them. I feel like he was one of them coaches that was like, "This not gonna work. You don't supposed to be doing it. You don't supposed to be doing that." I feel like that's what we seeing now. I feel like he's trying to do everything that Sean not doing. I feel like even like last week, I feel like he was mad that it was successful by using Taysom the way it was. I don't even think he was happy how that happened. Like,
I hope he was. You know, like shoot,
it don't seem like it, because if it was, you would have attacked that this time. He's not attacking nothing. The stuff that works, he don't attack, and that's the problem. When it works, you have to attack it. You have to use it. Yeah, you ran the ball good. We did all that. That was perfect.
Right.
But you still have to. He didn't take no risk with nothing. The only time he threw it, the only time he even had a good deep pass was when the last play. It was like, come on, y'all could have been doing it. I would have been charging Eli Apple that whole game.
They should. The crazy thing about it is, Quinn, is the first play that they threw, you know what I'm saying, the Rashid Shaheed, that was
right.
He would have scored.
Right.
Like, so why wouldn't y'all like trying to attack? Like, what I don't understand, this dude has been with y'all team for 2 seasons. Like, you know his tendencies, you know how to attack him. I would have, man. First off, why didn't you try to run that play again? You know what they should have did? They should have ran that same play on the opposite side. You know, I understand Awuzie, you know what I'm saying? He pretty doggone good as a corner, but I still would have tried to run that play again. It worked. Where's the like Sean Payton, what he used to do if a play was successful or he
gonna run it, he gonna keep hitting it until you stop it.
He'll put a note on there and you'll probably see it again. They'll probably like switch the field, like switch the formation and reverse, and they'll run the same exact play on the opposite side or something like that. But you ain't saying that. That Quinn, those are the little small things that I feel like that separate the good from the great head coaches. Those are the type of plays that can get you over that hump, and that's something that we haven't seen, man. But I got to go ahead and let you go, man. I got a few more people to get to, but thank you so much, man. I appreciate the comments.
All right, brother.
All right, take it easy, man. Yeah, Quinn has some good points. You know, like, I mean, you look at this team, and it just seemed like to me, I don't know, man. You look at this team and it just seems like something is off. But I hope Quinn right. You know, you get these guys back and hopefully they'll go on a little bit of a run. But I don't know, man. I think as long as this season is going on, I think this team gonna end up winning in spite of what Dennis Allen brings to the table. Jordan, thank you very much for the $9.99. So I've been telling y'all that Allen can't make a game-changing call. That positive effect winning. Winston could have overcome it, or Dalton. We have to trade a wide receiver. Jameis is the clear starter. I don't know. Look, I don't know who the clear starter is or not. All I know is you run for over 200 yards. You know, like you manage the game. You can burn on third downs when necessary. You get into the red zone 5 consecutive times. Like you're supposed to be winning a football game. Like you have no business losing a football game if you're doing all that and you're practicing all that. It just. Man, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. My goodness. We're going to go to B-Mac. B-Mac,
what up, y'all?
Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it on a Monday. What you got for us?
Man, I got so much to say, man. I don't even know where to start.
Take your time, man.
But let me say this. I kind of started the season, and my issue was with the offense. Just didn't have the kind of continuity and consistency that they needed.
Okay.
You know, wasn't scoring enough points. I would say the last 3 games that has improved. I still don't think we're scoring enough points. I really think yesterday came down, and let me say this too. We're not putting together, we're not playing cohesive. We're not playing in all 3 phases together the way that we should. When the offense is on, the defense is off.
Right.
When the defense is on, the offense was off. And that was the beginning of this, first so many games of the season. The defense was leading us, and the offense was just wasn't up to snuff.
Right.
And I really think that's really the biggest one of our biggest issues. We're not playing cohesive ball.
At all.
Honestly, I think it's more so the offense. If I had to pick a side, last week I commented that the offense was just like offensive innovation. Like we're missing a lot of things that I'm seeing some of these teams run this year, like the receiver sweep that we've seen Shaheed score on. I mentioned that last week, just like simple stuff like receiver sweeps, receiver screens,
right?
Just like simple stuff that I think could kind of give us a little edge.
Okay.
We were missing that.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of that yesterday with the Shaheed receiver sweep. Obviously, you're not going to score every time, but that's the little stuff I was talking about. I figured that this offense could do
Right.
is little stuff like that.
Well,
Yesterday,
B-Mac, let me just say that. Hold your thought. I just
yeah,
want to comment on what you just said. I'm seeing some different like innovations when it comes to the offense. Like I like the fact that they realize that they're better as a running team than they are as a passing team. So I
I
like
agree.
how they're setting up the run, and like it's setting up like the play action. Because if you notice how successful they were at running the football, you had the Cincinnati Bengals playing a lot of zone, so it was just a matter of Andy Dalton being able to like put the ball in like some of those small little windows and some of those soft spots. So I like the offensive innovation that they run it. We seen. I don't think I ever seen an offensive formation where I seen Taysom, Alvin, and Mark on the field at the same time. So I'm
Right.
like, I like that type of stuff. I like the fact that they understand what they are at this particular point. But I mean, I just never imagined that you finally be able to get over the hump. You scored 39 last week, 26 this week, and your defense just let you down.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do feel like they need to add a little bit more, but I think that kind of comes with maybe Pete Carmichael is a little bit limited. Like this, not like we talking about Andy Reid or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you took Andy Reid offense out there and some of the things that they're doing out there, I'm even talking about even in a run formation. Like I think it would be successful. So I just think that maybe he's limited. I mean, but I like the offensive innovation, but the defense got to help you out too.
Let me say this about DA. I know everybody's upset with DA.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be a little optimistic, right?
Okay.
I really don't think it's. Let me say this. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I want to preface what I'm saying with, all right, he's the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things don't go right. It has to fall somewhere. It's going to fall on the head coach most of the time.
Right.
I really think, if anything, I wouldn't say get rid of Pete, but I need more out of Pete. These last couple games, he's changed the way I felt. I like what I've seen out of the offense.
Okay.
But
You
if
feel
anything,
like there's a lot more. There's a lot more to be desired.
exactly.
I got
100%. 100%. I agree that this is more that I need to see more out of them. Like I said, the last 2 weeks is great. Defense got to catch up, but before then, it was the offense to me. 100% of the 100% the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm. If we can go back in time here now,
Okay.
the Saints going back with Sean Payton, he had Joe Vitt back up in there.
Right.
The offense was great,
right,
stellar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You putting them up there with the greatest show on turf, but the defense was holding us back. It wasn't until Sean Payton got rid of Joe Vitt
Mm-hmm.
that we hit a new level on our defense. You've seen this team really take off, and I really think that may be a part of what we have to see. It was a great idea in my mind to replace Sean Payton with DA and to try to keep the staff in place. I was very comfortable with that, and it was probably just me being comfortable because that's what I knew, right? Although we knew those coaches, so it was a level of comfort. That might not work. You can't hire Andy Reid and then turn around and say, well, we're going to keep the last staff from the Chiefs that was here. You work with the same staff, but you still be Andy Reid. I really think we may end up having to offensively, I wouldn't say clean house, but maybe make some changes with our coordinator. And I really love Pete Carmichael. I really do, but I don't know if he's going to work with DA. But he's changing my mind, honestly, the last couple weeks. Like I've seen him do more with less these last couple weeks, and honestly, that makes me feel good about us moving forward.
Right.
But they just got to play complete ball, offensively, special teams, and defensively. I think if we can kind of put together a game, where we're all playing B+ ball, we can win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look, I don't think talent is an issue at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I think we all can agree with that. I just think that, to me, they got to be able to get on the same page, B-Mac. Like, it can't be like, the offense looking like world beaters one week and the defense looking like they're the worst in the league, at the same time. Okay, we followed this up. We going into a game Thursday where the defense looked like they're the best defense in the league, and then the offense looked like Trevor Siemian still out there trying to score in the fourth quarter. Like, they have to play complete ball. They look, yesterday you could not afford to be making those mistakes based on what you were missing offensively. You have to be able to go out there and play your best ball. And I just think that we cannot be waiting for one side of the ball to get it together. Oh, this side got it together. Let's just play a complete game and let's see. But it's just like it's just like if one side take a week off, the other one go to work, and then vice versa. Like, we not going to win like this. Yeah. So it's just hard for me to just sit up here and not look at Dennis Allen and wonder why. And especially, once again, B-Mac, the side that has been lacking over the last couple of weeks is your calling card. This is your calling card. This is your baby. Your baby has been defense. The reason why you got the job is because how well you coordinate defense. And your defense looks disinterested. They're not playing with any fire, no swag, no confidence, no nothing. Like, it's hard for me not to look at them. Like, if the offense was struggling and the defense was stepping up, I mean, you still got to blame the head coach, but we know that your side of the football is thriving, and that's what you are, a defensive coach. But when your defense look like trash and the offense finally getting it together, I got to look at you a different way and have to wonder to myself, did the Saints make the right decision? Yeah. And I do agree with you. If it does not pan out, you might have to clean house. Because here's the thing. If you let go of Dennis Allen, you bring in a new head coach, you're not like – I think the deal breaker would be if Mickey Loomis was to come up to him, well, we would like to keep this person and that person. Well, you don't want me. You don't want me as your head coach because I want to bring my guys. I feel like with Dennis Allen, the fact that he didn't pan out last stop as a head coach, how much cachet, how much say-so do you actually have? Like, honestly, you getting the job is like, hey, you know what I'm saying? We'll go with you, but it's not like to a point where you're like a superstar head coach that everybody just wants to get. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting down the stretch to see where this team is going to go. But, man, morale is like really, really low right now as a Saints fan. And I'm not too sure how you can actually fix this without honestly going in a different direction and maybe making some changes. But we'll see, B-Mac.
One other thing I want to add. Yeah. Listen, I think traditionally we see this defense kind of take off after week 6 or so, week 6, week 7, we kind of see them take off. Right. And we saw the opposite this year. The defense kind of took off. They hit the ground running. And they kind of had a couple lulls the last 2 or 3 games or so. Right. The offense is picking it up. I'm just trying to be optimistic here. I'm thinking the offense is going to pick it up, and this defense has enough things that they've seen that they can coach and kind of get right, and you may see us move in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward. So keep that optimism in mind, guys. Maybe we see this defense take off. They don't look bad the whole games. I know what makes it worse is at the most inopportune times you see guys missing tackles. Right. And that sticks with you, right? Tyrann missed maybe 2 or 3 tackles or not even missed them, just didn't even go for them in opportune times. And that's the thing you're going to remember, right? Just like Marcus Williams missed that tackle, but we forget about the pick that brought us back in the game. We ain't going to never forget that missed tackle because it happened at an inopportune time. So it's hard not being a prisoner of the moment as it pertains to this defense. Right. It's also hard hearing every week that we're close, though. We really are. We are. I believe that, man. We are right there. If we can put together a full game offensively, special teams, and defensively, we will be what we should be. But that's the if. If it's a fifth, you, Jerry, all of us would be drunk. So
yeah. I mean, look, whatever they do, B-Mac, they got to figure it out because time is running out and the losses are starting to pile up, and your chances of making a postseason or getting even close to winning a division is running out. This was a great opportunity for you to be in a 3-way tie in your division, right? You would have been second in the division, going into the game versus the Arizona Cardinals. But look, they have have got to win this game Thursday because this is another NFC opponent. I can accept the AFC loss more than the NFC loss because now the NFC losses are going to start piling up and it's going to further your chance of making a postseason. But Big Mac, thank you so much, man. Appreciate the call.
Yes, sir. Love your show, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro.
All right. Thank you, man. Take care.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. We do have some breaking news. The Carolina Panthers have traded wide receiver Robbie Anderson to the Arizona Cardinals. Some of y'all probably already know Robbie Anderson got into it with the coaching staff of the Carolina Panthers on the sideline yesterday in the game versus the Los Angeles Chargers, which got him sent to the locker room. Okay, I mean, he had his Antonio Brown moment, but it looks like the sides couldn't get it together in reconcilable differences. So he's now a member of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm pretty sure they probably not going to have him playing in this game. Probably won't. You know, if he does, it's probably going to be very, very limited. But Robbie Anderson will be taking his talents to the West Coast. All right, we're going to go to Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
What's going on, TJ? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. Wish we can talk on better circumstances, but the Saints lose again. They had another loss. But what you got for us, Jerry?
Yeah, but before I get to that, I didn't hear about the breaking news about that. But like you said, Robbie Anderson might not be playing. Got traded to Arizona, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, we got bigger fish to fry right now.
Yes, we do. But TJ, after looking at that game Sunday, it kind of goes back to 2013. You probably remember this, and everybody in the chat probably remember this game.
Right.
Remember when the New Orleans Saints was 5-0 and almost about to go 6-0, and we were facing Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Patriots beat us at the last few seconds.
I remember that.
5-1. That's kind of similar to what happened on Sunday against Cincinnati because we had too much time left for the other team to beat us. And that's exactly what happened because all you had to do was keep running the clock down, running the football.
Fair enough.
We would be sitting here right now 3-3, but they had the big head, TJ. I mean, somebody told me that. I mean, that's the only problem with the New Orleans Saints. They always get that big head when they think they're going to win the game, but they come up short.
Yeah, so, I mean, I agree with you, Jerry. I agree with you. I agree with you. That's a very good point. I don't know if they have the big head or not because why would you have the big head? Because here's the reality. Every time Joe Burrow got the ball, he drove the ball down the field.
Yes, he did.
The only difference is the Saints controlled the time of possession. The Saints ran like 70-plus plays, and Cincinnati ran like 50. So that tells you everything you need to know. This dude was basically, you know what I'm saying, getting that ball down the field. I don't like if they were arrogant, then I would say, man, maybe we need to change who we have in the lineup as far as players because there's nothing about what you have been doing defensively you should be arrogant about. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. But go ahead, Jerry.
No, everything you were saying was true, TJ. But but I want to get to another question, and I'm sure everybody else answered it if they haven't already.
Right.
Okay. When it comes down to 4th and 4, now follow me. When it comes down to I don't care if it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, or whatever yards you try to get the first down. You got running backs. You got Taysom Hill that will run the ball. You got Mark Ingram that will do it. You got Alvin Kamara that'll do it. All the other running backs, even if you have to do a screen pass, go for it. Don't try to punt it. Go for it. Because I do it all the time. I'm sure everybody else do it all the time. I mean, look at Philadelphia. They ran on 4th and 4, and they got the first down. So why couldn't we do it? I mean, think about it.
Conservative play calling is the answer.
Exactly.
Too much worrying. There's too much worrying about what it gonna look like. Like, just go for it, man. Like,
all you have to do.
I just want something, man. Like, you know, like you're in a relationship, man, just do something to let me know that you love me. You know what I'm saying? Like some flowers or something. Cook me some red beans and rice or something. Like at this particular point, Jerry, like my dude, like show some type of passion, like show some type of initiative, some energy, something that get you fired up. Even if you don't get it, man, at least you try. But they're not even trying, man. They're not even trying to like be aggressive. They just being way too conservative, man, and not trying to make the mistake. And in the process, dude, they making mistakes.
That's it, bruh. And look, like I'm gonna use you for example. Like, let's say if it's 4th down and like 3, and I all up to you. Lord knows you're gonna run those 3 or 4 or more yards. Lord knows you're gonna get the first down. Right. I can see it right now. I hand the ball off to TJ Jones. He gonna run it. He gonna run about 5 or 6 yards or more to get the first down to keep that drive going. And that's the prime example right there, TJ.
Yeah, man, too soft for me, man. Too soft. And like I just want to say this to the Who Dat Nation. There is no surprise that this team is soft because the coaches are soft. Yeah, there's no mistake that this team is conservative.
Yep, like you said, SOF capital T, soft.
Yep, for real. Like that's what it is, man. That's what it all comes down to. They are a soft football team. Okay, and every time we look up, you know what I'm saying, we hearing this. All right, and yes, Jerry, these boys.
I said soft. Because I said soft, so what? I said I spell it. SOF capital T, soft.
Exactly. These boys, that's what these boys do. Soft. Okay?
Yep. Look, I speak no more. You already played it. I speak, and I say no more.
Yeah, man, pretty much, man. Soft and cue the Tecmo Bowl injury music, because that's what it seems like is every single week. But Jerry, man, you got anything else for us, man?
Not a whole lot, TJ. Just stay strong. Y'all keep the faith. We're not losing hope yet. We got Thursday night football coming up to open up week 7. Hopefully and prayerfully things will turn around for the next few days before we face Arizona. And hopefully and prayerfully we'll go 3-4 at the least. So Who Dat Nation, I love you. TJ, much love to you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let nobody, and I say this, don't let nobody put you down, bro. You keep grinding, bro. You keep right. I got your back, bro. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. We in this thing together.
Hey,
and Who Dat Nation, I love y'all, and I mean it. I love each and every one of y'all, and I wouldn't trade y'all for nobody. I don't care what the other team is doing. I'm still going to yell, who that? I'm still going to bleed black and gold until the day I die.
Yeah. Hey, man, look, I appreciate those kind words, Jerry, and I know the Who Dat Nation does as well. No, thank you so much, man. Call back anytime.
Will do, TJ. You take care of yourself, bro, and y'all be blessed.
All right, you too. All right. Yeah, man, I mean, look, I'm very, man, I love doing this regardless, Win, lose, or draw, I enjoy doing the State of the Saints podcast, and I said, ain't nobody gonna stop me from doing what I'm doing. I started this podcast 5 years ago, and we almost at 10,000 subs, and we have a good time here, and we interact with one another, and we turned this podcast into something special that we all can enjoy. And I'm here, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it. So it is what it is. Black Preacher Man Sports fan collab. Thank you very much for the $5. Says TJ, how is it that both coordinators from last year is calling all the sets and the team is performing worse? I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't. I really don't. I don't know what the problem is. But hey, time is running out. That's all I'm gonna continue to say. Time is indeed running out, and they're gonna look back and they're gonna wish they had some of these games when it all comes down to it. We're gonna go to Tragic. Tragic, how you doing, man?
How you doing, TJ?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you for being patient, man. What you got for us?
And look, assessing the team so far. We having breakdowns. Every week it's a different position that breaks down. You know, 1 week it's your special teams, 1 week it's your running back, 1 week it's your quarterback, 1 week it's your offensive line. The defense, if you compare the defense, even the offense, it's been improving, but it's those third down, it's those key moments on third down. And that's where I really think you missed, like, you know, your CD Deuces and your Quan Alexanders. Even though Warner, I always felt he's good in the run game. What I'm saying from the defense is what I'm seeing before we got Quan Alexander. I'm seeing a bunch of passing lanes underneath now being opened up. You know, guys not being in the right place right there. I'm seeing a lot of underneath completions to wide receivers in the slot. And I felt like, you know, when we had Quan, a lot of those, Quan and CD Deuce, a lot of those things, that middle was basically closed down. We were strong in the middle. Right. And also losing those safeties that we got, the safeties, all three of those safeties, that's a lot of size we lost. Yep. We had a nickel defense that was like, I call it a big nickel. It was like a big nickel defense. It was a defense that was played with nickel personnel. Yep. But it still almost looked like a 4-3 if you look at the size of the players. Yeah. Now this nickel that we got now with Tyrann Mathieu, me, Justice Evans, now it actually looks like a nickel defense is on the field, and you look small on defense. You look like you could be run upon. You don't have the intimidating presence that you had in the past. Right. And I think our management kind of put the cart before the horse and getting rid of CD Deuce. You know, when CD Deuce got to the team, you know, you basically had PJ Williams that was playing that spot, and it took a PJ Williams injury, and then CD Deuce got in there and never gave it back. Yep. You know, he proved this thing or whatever. We got rid of CD Deuce before we got to see Alante Taylor actually like see what he can do. We projected on what we think he can do, but we haven't seen it. And then you done already got rid of a dog, but you didn't adequately have his replacement yet.
Hey, Trey, I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like what they did was extremely, and I do mean extremely, hypocritical. Because if you remember a couple years ago, when Michael Thomas wanted a new contract, he stayed at home. He didn't even come to practice at all, right? But they ended up trying to pay him. And on top of that, like, his relationship between him and Sean Payton was not strong at that particular time at all. So my question is, what makes the antics of a Michael Thomas any different from the antics of a CD Deuce? Because I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it. Like, of course a guy wants to get paid, and if he's adamant about it, we've seen this before. So what makes it a different? Both of these guys are two guys that actually brought something to their respected sides, defensive and offensive. So what's the difference between what Michael Thomas did and what CD Deuce did? How is it that y'all can understand Michael Thomas antics, but you can't understand CD Deuce's? And both of them were trying to get a new contract.
I agree. I agree. And I like I said, I feel like CD Deuce went about it in a more reasonable manner than Michael Thomas. He was actually coming to camp. Right. You know, he probably didn't participate in everything, but he was showing up. Yep. He was actually being a leader, and even like trying to coach up even some of the younger guys when they was doing things wrong. Yep. So even when he was injured, tragic, you seen CD Deuce on the sidelines. Like in the midst of an injury, how many times? Like, seriously, how many times do you see Michael Thomas on the sidelines at a game? I maybe don't. Once. I seen him one time.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't see him on the sidelines. Like, all that kind of stuff to me kind of matters. And I don't see Michael Thomas on the sidelines, you know what I'm saying, like hyping up his wide receiver. Like, dude, you're the veteran wide receiver out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the one that's trying to make it move. So why are you not on the sidelines encouraging like some of these younger guys? So I'm just saying, like, you can make an argument that Michael Thomas antics were way more egregious than that of a CD Deuce. I ain't like, even when CD was out, like, he was on the sideline with a walking boot on, but he was out there hyping up the defense, encouraging guys. So I don't know, man. I don't know what makes CD's situation different from Mike's.
And that's one of the things that brings up the second point, as you said, you know, that's when it comes down to the tangibles, the things that you can't really judge in stats. You can't look at it and say, well, he had this many tackles, this many interceptions, he only got this and only got that. There are certain players that bring a certain thing that you can't measure by statistics, and that's the intangibles, and that's what a CD Deuce and a Quan Alexander brings you. You know, you can see the morale of that team somewhat. Like when they found out CD Deuce got traded, they was saying all the right things, but you could just see that energy was just gone.
Yep.
You know,
it was a conference that they probably had. They probably went to him. They probably went to Double D, Demario Davis, probably went to Cam Jordan, like, okay, man, we about to pull the trigger on this. We need y'all to back us on this. And they probably went to the locker room and got everybody else on board. But if I'm telling you, if you look at that tweet that Tyrann Mathieu put out, but he deleted, it's clearly, you know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing this. It's like, why would you get rid of a guy like CD Deuce for another guy like Alontae Taylor that hasn't even proven nothing in the league yet versus a guy that's been here for 4 years and has proven that he can be a valuable asset to your defense? I'm just saying, man, like a lot of people weren't on board with it. And it seemed like maybe that does play a role in how these guys are playing right now.
Yeah, I agree. And then think about what Michael Thomas might even be telling these younger guys right now. You know, Michael Thomas on your team, he's out with an injury. You got guys that probably got Nixon. They probably be like, man, you see what they did to me? They forced me back. I came back too early, and I'm dealing with this right now. You know, so all these other guys who probably got injuries, they probably like, man, I don't want to rush back. Look what happened to Mike or whatever. He could barely play now. He didn't have to have 2 surgeries because he came back too early.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, maybe there is some talk. Maybe there is some like validity behind it. You know, I don't know, man. But all I know is this. They need to figure whatever was going on out before it's way too late. I don't know if this is fixable, to be honest with you, but we'll see, man. I mean, I'm in it for the long haul, man. So hopefully they'll be able to turn some things around. Tragic, got anything else?
That's it. Appreciate the time. I appreciate all the time, you know, that you gave me. Just shout out to the Who That Nation fam and our State of the Saints podcast. You know, we like I said, we're in this for the long haul. You know, we 10 toes down. We ain't backing off.
Hey, for real, like what they say, I came too far to turn around now. Tragic, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
All right,
take it easy. Yeah, man. Look, I came too far to turn around. Like in the process, I'm looking for that. I'm trying to see if I can find that tweet that Tyrann Mathieu put out there. But it was I'm pretty sure somebody probably got that because it was a storyline. But it basically was like, like I said, I'm paraphrasing. You know, he basically wasn't happy about the whole trade with CD Deuce, and he put it up there for a while, and then it got deleted. So, you know, he wasn't upset. He was upset about that because, you know, I guess he wanted that man to be out there. And I mean, look, dude has a lot of energy, and he made plays too. So I don't know. I think that there's something missing. I don't know if it's the respect factor. I don't know if it's the energy factor or not. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to go to Prime. Prime, how you doing, man?
I'm doing beautiful. You doing great, my brother?
Man, I'm doing fine, man. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time, man. And it's good to put a face with the comments, you know, throughout the years, man. So appreciate that.
Well, I'm at work right now and just having to be at lunch. I'm in my classroom, so I'm glad I was able to get on. But there's a couple of things I wanted to see. Piggyback on what y'all was saying about the situation with CD Deuce. 2 factors. Number one, they didn't want to go through another Michael Thomas situation. And that's probably why they did what they did.
Good
Number
point.
2, it's a business and it's all about going with the cheaper player, which is the rookie.
Yeah.
Number 3, as far as Mike Thomas is concerned, I don't know. So I'm feeling kind of weird about what he's doing right now with these injuries and what's going on with him. Some people may not agree with me, but he may have to be cut loose because we all got excited at the beginning of the year when we picked up all these free agents. We got Mike was coming back, and we got your boy Landry from LSU, and we pick up the Honey Badger. Everybody was getting all excited because once fall they was getting excited for all these LSU players. And I'm not a big LSU person. I roll with the SWAC. I will roll with the Jaguars, Southern University. That's what I roll with.
I'm sorry to hear that, but go ahead, continue.
but it's all good, my brother. It's all good. But there's a couple of things I wanted to say. Also, another thing I want to say is I've been looking at football now since 1972. I was born in 63, and I knew what it was about.
Right.
I've noticed over the last 20 years, I don't care if it's the Saints, but I'm noticing now a lot of defensive backs do not tackle anymore. They tackle too high, or they tackle too low, or they just want to go for that shot. Because if you, I brought this up to a friend of mine. We was looking at the last Saints game together, and I was telling him, if you notice, when you got a person running forward and you got to see 2 or 3 yards for a first down, why do players always go full bore coming from behind? You hitting the guy forward to the first down. Hold them on. It's like they forgot to do the basics of tackling, because that was inexcusable for Roby to miss that tackle yesterday. And anyway, you know that's their number one receiver. Why you didn't have 2 people over there? That's on coaching.
Yeah. Why you like? My thing about it is, why are you running man coverage at a time like that? Like what why are you doing man coverage when it's a do or die situation like that? Against arguably one of the best young wide receivers in all of the league. Like I'm at a loss for words. I really don't know why they decided to get in that formation. Maybe they thought they would try to, get the ball out of hands of Joe Burrow pretty quick. They probably tried to blitz, but man, that was just a bad play call. That was horrible.
That was a bad play call. I blame the coaching. And for, like you say, for your head coach, his thing was the defensive coordinator. For the defense to look bad now, that makes you look bad, because that was your side of the ball that you mastered. Because during the game, if you notice, the commentators, I was able to look at the game online with the site I go to. It's called stream2watch.ws, so you can watch any sporting events around the world, because that's what the website that the military uses to look at games a lot of times.
Right.
So the commentators were saying that Burrow had trouble with zone defenses. Why did you not stay in zone defense? Number 2.
To be honest with you, a prime hole that they did it because honestly they was getting work. Like Chris Harris Jr. was getting work. Like Roby, he was pretty tight with the coverage, but man, that's a big physical guy. Like it was a reason why they wasn't doing that. But my thing about it is, I do believe that, what I'm saying, like y'all should have probably changed up that formation. There's no way in the world you should have just left that man on the island by himself. But go ahead, man. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate you. I love this repertoire we have, and this is awesome. And that's why I've been watching you for the last couple of years. I followed a Big Q and I support all the brothers as much as possible. I even support the brothers that do the Panthers thing, because they're 2 frat brothers.
Yeah, man.
But another point I wanted to make is you was running the ball against what was supposed to be their strength, and you were effective at it.
Yep.
Why stop? Why stop doing that? And I'm gonna tell you right now, also, this Jameis and Dalton situation. Dalton does not have the arm strength to throw the ball. Neither does Taysom. I know a lot of people saying that Taysom he had his chance. Taysom is good at what he's doing. I agree with you 1,000%. Don't put him at quarterback. Let him do what he's doing. That's another weapon that you have. And it just, I was mad, I was upset, but I kind of had a feeling we was going to lose this game, because right now we're 7-8 against this team overall. And I had a feeling we was going to lose the game. But my thing is, when Jameis come back, if you notice, Jarvis Landry and Olave and all the receivers, most of the teams we played against were playing the zone. They found the blank spot, and that's where Jameis was throwing the ball to, the open spot. Because on that pass, that rookie, and I'm telling you, that boy Rashid is going to be a steal.
Yeah.
Why didn't they continue using him in the game? Because he was a surprise. Nobody knew his tendencies. Stick with that.
Look, based on the situation, going into Thursday, they already said Thomas ain't playing, Landry ain't playing, Lattimore ain't playing. If this dude don't have at least 3 or 4 plays designed for him to come in this Thursday, like, we're going to have some problems. Like, This dude on two, like I'm telling you, this dude should have 2 touchdowns right now as we speak.
Yes.
He got behind Eli Apple. It was just a miscommunication between him and Dalton and that jet sweep. So I'm like, the 2 times this dude touched the ball, he showed you electricity. So
yes,
you got to be able to incorporate that, especially if you limit it at that particular position as of right now. I mean, I don't get it. Even Taysom Hill, like towards the end of the game, like you barely saw him. Like where was he at? It just seemed like this dude had 1 jet sweep for 44-yard touchdown, and you ain't never see him again.
Exactly. And you see the way this offense is running, it reminds me of when we had Carl Smith as an offensive coordinator. They were afraid to win. They were playing not to lose, which is 2 different animals. You have to play to win the game. You can't be afraid, because I'm gonna tell you, Jameis was not healthy. I know when Jameis got hurt. If you remember the Atlanta game, there was one play where you had 3 or 4 players that had Jameis bent over backwards on his back, and I'm like, ooh, I'm surprised he didn't hurt his neck.
Right.
And what I noticed about Jameis, he got that arm strength, but I think he also, when you give him enough time, he noticed he looks at the receivers and notice whether they're gonna go in and out, because they give him that option on the pattern. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if that was a healthy Jameis, he would have connected Rashid on that touchdown.
Oh yeah, he would have.
He would have connected with that. That would have been 6. That boy is too fast, man. That's a real fast young brother.
Yeah, he blazing fast. I mean, you could tell, like, when they got it, it's like he shot out a cannon. Like that was one of the best jet sweeps I've seen. You know, like, I really don't see too many jet sweeps working. I remember, like, maybe I think they did like 1 jet sweep with Deontay Harris. I got to emphasize Harris and not Hardy, but Harris against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a Sunday night, and it worked. I think it went for like 40 yards. And this one right here, like, man, this dude, like, I think you need to like set up some plays. This can be your like secret weapon. You know what I'm saying? As far as like a down threat, because don't seem like too many people would be able to keep up with him. But Prime, you got anything else before we let you go, man?
Yeah, I got this one. I just got one more thing that I want to say. And what I wanted to say is that if you look at that, if you have Taysom and you have Rashid on the field at the same time, and you have Taysom running that direction, because if you look at it, Rashid is, I think, probably the same speed as Hardy or Harris, but he's bigger.
Yeah.
He's bigger.
Yep.
And he's going to be cheaper.
Yep. Yeah. So he can be able to absorb that punishment versus like somebody like Deontay Hardy, who's like about 5'6", 165 pounds.
Wet.
I want this man to get an opportunity. I feel like he deserves to have opportunity as being like in a wide receiver rotation. So, I mean, I understand like him being kind of upset about that. He wants to have a bigger role. But to me, based on like this dude's size and his speed, I think that, you know, the Saints making the right decision here. You know, they're going to end up letting Hardy go, and they're going to let Shaheed probably take over, you know, the kick return, and they probably even implement him and some of those, you know, some of these plays that can get the ball down the field. But go ahead.
2 more things. Well, 3 more. I hope that they don't make the mistake with him, what they did with the running back. I hope they sign this boy right away. They're not going to be able to sneak him back on the practice field.
They signed him to the active roster. They didn't.
Good job.
They signed him to the active roster because they probably look. If they didn't, then somebody would have made the phone call right there. So that was a smart decision on their part. They learned. They learned their lesson from the last couple of weeks. So
sometimes you have to do that. But I'm gonna tell you the second to last thing I want to say. If we don't win Thursday, our season is done.
Oh yeah.
It's done. And for you to think Jameis is going to come back unhealthy and dig, no, don't even put Jameis in that situation. When Jameis come back, I think they should play Jameis this week. I really do. And you should run the ball like you ran the ball with the red rifle.
Yep.
You should run the ball because I said this the second week of the season. This offensive line is a run blocking offensive line. Not a pass blocking offensive line. Because ever since then, nobody has been talking bad about Ruiz. The boy's been doing his job.
Yeah, been one of the bright spots on the offensive line.
And as the last point I want to make, this is it. This is a do or die because I think a lot of people going to retire next year.
Yep.
Because Jordan, DeMario, and your boy and the Honey Badger might have to retire because I agree with you. Look like he's just out there collecting jet.
It seems like he already done retired in my opinion. But hey, I mean, you're probably right.
I appreciate your time, my brother. Keep up the good show. Good luck. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing like being your own boss. You don't have to put up with the BS that we teachers have to put up with. And it's not always from the students.
Yeah, man. Well, my brother, he's a teacher, man. He's an art teacher out there. Like, shouts out to my big brother EJ. I mean, he's doing real big things, man. But shouts out to you, man. I mean, look, you're educating the young minds. I don't feel like there's a more important position than what you have right now. And I'm definitely advocating for y'all to get paid more money because y'all don't get paid enough, bro.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 28 years. I'm an engineering teacher, and I have former engineering students that are actual engineers right now.
Yeah, well, that's a blessing, man. And so continue to do what you're doing. Definitely need people like you, to continue to educate young minds and keep on keeping on, man. And besides the fact that you rooting for Southern, everything gonna be all right out there. You're all right with me, man. But Prime, call back.
It's all good, baby. It's all good.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day, bro.
I'm from the 9th Ward too. I just been living in Houston for the last 22 years, but I'm from the 9th Ward.
Hey, man, look, represent no matter where you go, man. I'm in Myrtle Beach, still gonna represent the 9 all day, every day, man.
All right, my brother.
All right. Yeah, man. Shouts out to all the teachers out there. Shouts out to all the teachers on their lunch break. Hey, that was cool though. If y'all noticed, soon as Prime got finished, like with his last statement, the bell rang. It was pretty cool, right? Like, okay, like the bell like ended his statement. That's when you know you punctual. That's some teacher stuff right there. Finally, we're gonna go ahead and end the calls with Johnson. Johnson, how you doing, man? Johnson,
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Johnson. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time. And what you got for us today?
So it's a lot of things, a couple of things I want to tackle today. The first one is Dennis Allen. Mm-hmm. So we lost this season whenever we didn't hire Flores as our head coach. That's when we lost the season at. Because Dennis Allen should have still been a defensive coordinator. And we would have never been going through these problems in the first place. Now, Dennis Allen cannot make a game-changing call to save his life. Go back and look at every single game. At the end of the second quarter, at the end of the fourth quarter, what do we still have in our pockets? 3 timeouts. It's no adjustments being made during the game, and it's no adjustments being made at practice. He just a puppet for our owners. That's what he is right now.
Wow.
If we go keep it real.
That's crazy. I mean, look, I said this before, and I think matter of fact, I said this on the last episode. I don't know if it was just the right decision. It just seemed like to me like he got hired more so to keep the chemistry. And and I think about this, Johnson, when we think back, we weren't accepting Dennis Allen as the head coach because we felt like he was qualified to do it. We accepted it because we didn't want to see this team break up the momentum that they had from last year. This dude, nobody ever just said, man, yeah, Dennis Allen, yeah, he's going to be the guy. Everybody was just content because they didn't want to see this chemistry in this team, just disintegrate. And you basically starting all over again. When you think about it, I don't think this dude has ever been the right choice. It was just the fact that he just represented putting our mind at ease, if that makes any sense. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? We had the same people. We should be okay. Only thing that's missing is a coach. And then if you add on, we beat Tampa 9-0, and he served as the head coach that day. We tried to convince ourselves that this dude was a good choice versus going into the season knowing for a fact that he was a good choice. Well, what else you got, man?
Well, and I agree with you, but the thing about that is now you got to say, could we overcome our coach? Just like how the Cowboys had to overcome Jason Garrett. They couldn't do it. They had to scrape for an 8-8 season every year. You can't overcome bad coaching and then expect Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton to throw you back in the game. Because both of them 1-2 right now. When both of them could have possibly been 3-0.
Right.
You just can't overcome bad coaching. Now, I commented in the group chat not too long ago, hey, we need to trade either Michael Thomas or Jarvis Landry. That's what a good coach will do. We gotta do something to support our bottom line, running the ball, playing defense. Now we didn't. So now we got 2 wide receivers hurt, plus Chris Olave, who if this would have been Sean Payton seeing Chris Olave come alive the way he did this season, Jarvis Landry wouldn't even lasted past week 3. Because we would have shipped his ass out, got a lineman, got a DB, got some type of support somewhere else. We let Deontay Hardy or Harris, whichever one you want to call him, we let him get hurt when we should have traded his ass before the season even started. So not only are we not making the correct personnel decisions, let's go back to last game. We down every single starting receiver. Would you not agree that with 2 minutes left to go, Taysom Hill don't give you a better chance to run a 2-minute offense at that point with that personnel? Or you go tell me with 3 wide receivers that might not even make another roster in the NFL that dropping back with a quarterback that can't move, throwing to these guys in 2 minutes is better than having a Taysom Hill or Alvin Kamara on the field at the same time. Because now you could send Kamara down the field a little bit and you still have the chance to run the ball and get a 50, maybe 10, 15 yards. But and we can't sit back and ask the refs to help us out.
Man, you ain't lying. You ain't lying.
I've been a New Orleans Saints fan my whole life, so I know how it works.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you go. We still should be optimistic. Why? Because at the end of the day, the winner of the NFC South is going to win 8 to 9 games. It's very obvious. Tom Brady can't overcome what's going on in our world. He can't overcome it like nobody else could overcome that. Going through a divorce, he halfway retired. They not going to overcome that.
Right.
Carolina is Carolina. And then the Falcons, they winning. They were 3-3, but they're not a great team. They're not a good team. So it's still a chance for the Saints to get together, get on the 3-game run, and take this division over. That's the only good thing. But the question gonna be, could we overcome Dennis Allen? Because he should have never been a quarterback. Because the reason why our offense and defense look so night and day, like one week it's the defense playing good, the next week it's the offense, because he don't know what he's doing. What he's doing, I can tell you what he's doing right now. Last week we had a bad defensive showing. I'm going to focus exactly on defense this week and forget about the offense. He did the vice versa last week. I'm going to focus on the offense and I'm going to let the defense do what the defense do. And look what happened. You get night and day. Instead of hiring a defensive coordinator and stop all this co-assistance BS, all that don't work. You get you a defensive coordinator, that way you can split your time down the middle and teach these players what they actually doing wrong and how to improve from week to week.
Yeah. But it takes a special coach to be able to, be able to do that, be able to have his hands and so many, so many things, and also be able to maintain, solid continuity during game time. And I haven't seen it. Like, I agree. It's rather one side looks really good, other side lacks, or vice versa. So, I mean, if you continue to do that, you have to look at the coaching. I don't know if this team will be able to survive the coaching. I mean, I haven't seen this. I take that back. I seen it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple of years ago, because I still don't feel like Bruce Arians is a good coach. I don't care if he won a Super Bowl or not. I think that he averaged at best. You just so happen that you have arguably the greatest quarterback of all time pulling the trigger. So you do have things where they can overcome that, but I don't know if the Saints can, because based on the personnel, I don't know. I can't see them overcoming it. What I see right now is a 7-win team, maybe an 8-win team, the way things are going right now.
Well, like I said, the winner of our division go win 8 or 9 games. the only way we're going to make the playoffs is by winning the division.
Right.
So that's the only bright spot. Jameis Winston should be the starting quarterback. They just allow the media to shape him in a way that was unfair because our coaching was that bad. And I kept saying, hey, Jameis Winston can't overcome this coaching, plus the running backs fumbling the ball. You just can't overcome that in key positions. And they go throw Jameis Winston out there Thursday, hope that he could make something shake with. And right now, the game plan should be Kamara touches the ball 30 times, Taysom Hill touches the ball 10 to 15 times. That's our game plan right now for winning. And if we can't stick to that, we're not going to beat nobody. Dropping back to throw to Callaway and what's his name? Smith. That they should have been cut him. I don't even know why we have him. But that's not going to be a good game plan. Throwing the ball 38 times is not for us.
Yeah. I agree. If you throw the ball 38 times, that means that you're playing catch up. So you definitely don't want to do that. But Johnson, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the comments. And make sure you call back, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, no problem. Yeah, I mean, I agree with him. You know, when you look at, Dennis Allen, you got to ask yourself, like, can this team overcome what he has done as a head coach? And then the answer to that is I'm not too sure. But as far as like with Jameis Winston, I mean, we all know that Jameis Winston is a talented quarterback. The biggest issue that we have is like some of the decision making. And I also just think, like, just going back, looking at some of the games that he played in, sometimes I just feel like he has so much trust in these wide receivers that he'll try to put the ball up in the air and give these guys the opportunity to make plays. I mean, you'll see like Callaway come down with a one-hand snag. You'll see Olave catch a pass, or two. But I still feel like you got to make sure that this dude is 100% healthy or close to 100% healthy if you want him to come back, because the thing about it is people already got their reservations about him, which really is not a deal breaker because none of us are like, are the deciding factor what a coach actually does at the end of the day. But, so I'd rather him be 100% where he can go out there and utilize his legs. He'll be able to utilize his arm, and you'll be able to do some things with him as a starting quarterback. Putting him out there because, you feel like Andy Dalton isn't giving you enough, but yet, he's still limited in a certain capacity for the exception of throwing the ball down the field. I just think that you're doing, that a disservice. I don't have a problem with the offensive play game plan that they run. I mean, because in all honesty, if you look at the analytics, it should have worked. They should have won. You know what I'm saying? Based on like things in the past. Like if you look at from a historical significance, teams that run that many times, win a turnover battle, they tend to win a game very decisively. This is like an outlier. I want to say this maybe like 5 times in history over, Like this is like 5 times in history this has actually happened. So the Saints game plan was supposed to work. It should have worked, but it didn't. And that's one of the main reasons why today I just feel as empty as, because it's like, what can you do when you do everything right and you still lose? What can you do? All right, we got 355 people watching this right now. I ask that you hit the like button. If you enjoy the State of Saints podcast and the content, please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. And if you're new, I ask that you subscribe. All right, we're going to go to Jordan. Jordan, how you doing?
Oh, yeah, how you doing? What's up? There's a lot to talk about right now. But
yeah, go ahead, Jordan, man. Take your time, man.
Yeah, but I want to talk about Dennis Allen first. Like, I'm not gonna put all the blame on Dennis Allen, but
okay,
you gotta give him a pass. He can't do anything about like Chris Harris. Like, that's injuries, bro. Dennis Allen deserves some blame. I'll give him some blame. After week 1, he should have put Andy Dalton in. If Jameis' back was fractured, why would you not put in Andy Dalton right there?
That is a good point.
We probably be 2-2 right now.
Good point.
And then we probably won't have to deal with all these guys going in and out because we have some stability. So I think that's probably one thing. And also, Chris Harris, I think he No one's talking about him enough, bro. I think he was one of the reasons we lost the game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was out there getting worked by boys. I think we all in agreement with that. Like, he couldn't stop the quick slant to save his mama life. If his mama was out there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
but the thing is,
if
bro,
like, she gonna drop in the water. Like, he couldn't save his mama right now, bro. That was terrible. But go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, you good. Yeah, but I think because of that, like, since he was getting cooked by Boyd, like, they can't put all the attention on Boyd because you got Jamar Chase and you got T. Higgins also. So it's like you can't put all your attention on Boyd because you got Chase and you seen what happened to Chase. He went off. So it's like, what can you redo? I can't put all the blame on Dennis Allen. I feel like, if Roby was in that position, I don't think he's allowing like Boyd to just, completely just do what he did on Chris Harris. So I can't put all the blame on Dennis Allen. I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, no, look, I don't think that you should put the blame like entirely on Dennis Allen, but look, Dennis Allen is not out there when you're having undisciplined play with the penalties and all that kind of stuff. But what we can do, Jordan, is blame him when it comes to like certain situations. Situational football is important. It's a deal.
100%.
It's the deciding factor on if you're going to win a game or you're going to lose a game. And it's not so much about the X's and O's. It's about having your team prepared for situational football and also being able to put them in the best position to succeed. And what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, the Saints have been right there in the thick of things, rather the offense was working or not. And it comes down to a few plays and a few play calls, and they just can't get the job done. And I think that you have to look at the head coach in that matter. And you got to be asking yourself, why isn't this team prepared for this particular moment? Or better yet, why aren't you making sure that you are, handling your business as a head coach in certain situations in order for us to be in a better position to win? Like yesterday, Jordan, I'm sorry. Like they had no business losing this football game at all.
You're right. 100%.
So I got like, it all came down to the last few minutes of this game where it mattered most. And some of the decisions that were made were a combination of Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael cost this team the game. So I'm not going to sit up here and just say it's just totally on him because players got to play. But also, man, you got to be able to know what to do in certain situations, and you cannot be coaching scared out there. And there was a lot of scared moments to me, Jordan.
I agree. I think that's probably been a problem the whole year because if you look at a couple games, remember against Tampa, we could the field goal, remember? And he decided to punt it. Like it was just small decisions like that. I feel like it's important. Yeah.
I mean, look, you cannot be coaching scared. That's my whole point. I'd rather you go for it.
Yeah, you see, let's make a 60-yarder in London.
I'd rather you go for it, don't get it. At least I can be like, well, you know what? It just wasn't your day. It just wasn't our day today. It is what it is. But when I see you coaching scared, like the Saints for weeks have been coaching not to lose games. All right. They're not coaching to win. They're coaching not to lose. Maybe, maybe they coaching so shows like this will be like, well, they should have, I don't know about that decision right there. Maybe they looking at it from an analytical standpoint, but you can't do that, man. You got to coach your game. You got to coach with a level of confidence that you see some of these star coaches have. And it's rather you got it or you don't. I don't think, look, there are certain things I just feel like, you can't teach. You can't teach leadership. Jordan, you can't teach it, bro. It's something that you're born with. Right. You can't fake it. It's rather you have it or you don't. I don't think it's something that you grow into. I don't think it's just something that you learn over a course of time. You're a leader. You're naturally born that way. Okay. And I just feel like when it comes to Dennis Allen, I do not feel Dennis Allen is a natural born leader. He's a natural born organizer. I give him that. Like if you're talking about somebody that gonna dot the I's and cross your T's and be punctual and be on time and have the layout and have the itinerary ready for the trip. Yeah, he that's him. But when it comes to like leadership, like I want some dogs in the middle of the huddle. I want like, hey man, look, we about to go out here and we about to dominate from the start of the game to the end. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna play until the whistle blow. We're gonna play with our hair on fire. Do you feel me on that? That's leadership. I don't get that from him. Okay, guys. All right, guys, look, this is what we're going to do, okay? Look, come on, man. I'm fired up. Aren't you fired up? I can't tell. Jordan, I want some dogs, man. Like, if I'm not feeling you, if I'm not feeling you in the huddle, I'm not feeling you in the classroom, you can't fake that, man. And then you can't come on Monday morning and just change and turn into, I don't know, Rex Ryan or something like that, or Bill Parcells with a fiery speech. It's rather you got it or you don't. And this dude don't have it. Like, he just don't have it. This, like, I'm not saying maybe you go somewhere else, but this isn't like the type of coach that he is. This is not the type of leadership this team needs. That's just me. Like, Sean Payton was a fiery coach. He was a disciplinarian. He was a little bit of a tyrant, and people respected him for that. And when you disappointed him, it meant something. It's rather you going to get benched. We seen like him benched like key players that was important for them to actually win in games. You remember when he benched Kenny Vaccaro for missing a tackle, and he was missing tackles left and right? Kenny Vaccaro was on a bench. And, Kenny Vaccaro, that was like a huge decline right after him. He had P.L. Warren out there playing. P.L. Warren couldn't cover. The only thing he can do is catch the ball. He was basically like Trayvon Diggs. So you got to have some level of accountability. And I don't feel like he has it, man. I really don't. But you got anything else, man?
Yeah, I just want to bring up one thing. Well, why do the Saints keep getting all these 6'8" defensive ends? Like, I'm obviously over exaggerating. It's not 6'8", but you know what I'm saying. Like, you see a guy like Michael Parsons. You see a guy like T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett. You see the best guys in the league. I feel like are speed rushers. I feel like if you have a speed rusher next to Cam Jordan and like Davenport, then you got something. I feel like being too bland is just like, because look, they just drafted the same guy and Peyton Turner. Like, he's the exact same guy as Davenport.
Yeah.
So like, what are you really doing?
Well, look, it has a lot to do with the wingspan. The size of the guy being like 6'7", 6'8", you can utilize those swim moves and you can be able to like get to the defender, faster. That's why you have a lot of these guys they call hybrids. And the Saints love those hybrid guys, those tall guys with long wingspan. So if you about 6'7", you got like the wingspan of a guy like 6'10", 6'11", maybe even 7 foot. So you can actually maneuver around some of those offensive linemen. But one thing that those other linemen have is a little bit of more of a bendability. They can get underneath those big, those big guys. So I do think that's something that you may need to like kind of look at. But I think the biggest issue, Jordan, to me, is the fact that the Saints go out here and they draft these projects. Like, instead of them like just getting a sure thing. Like, we got so excited about Chris Olave because he was a sure thing. Like, we knew soon as this dude stepped on the field, he was going to be the truth because we've seen him on a high level play at one of the biggest schools in the country when it comes to, winning and football culture and being a powerhouse in Ohio State. So we knew the lights weren't going to be too bright for him because he's known for playing in the big moments, the national championship, the Sugar Bowls, or what have you. So we knew the lights weren't going to be, wasn't going to be too bright for him versus a guy like Peyton Turner, who had injury history throughout his entire college career, and he played at the University of Houston. Now, I'm not saying that it won't resort to success because we've seen guys at smaller schools come into the league and become a beast. But if you have an opportunity to get a guy like Patrick Queen, you have an opportunity of getting a guy like Kenneth Murray. You got an opportunity to get a guy that is known for playing at a power conference school and making plays and going to bowl games and playing in big moments. Why wouldn't you want to pursue him, right? And it just makes things look even worse. Like, you had an opportunity to get Lamar Jackson, but you traded up to try to get Marcus Davenport. He was like, Lamar Jackson was right there for you for the taking, but you decided to go get Davenport from UTSA.
Yeah, that was so. But they could have done so many. They could have got Derwin James. They could have got so many other guys.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I had to go on Wikipedia to find out who Marcus Davenport was, bro. Like, not to say that. Okay, he had some bright spots. He had some moments, and yeah, the injury guards have not been.
He's a good player. Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like, you probably could have solidified your future with, with a guy like Lamar Jackson. If you would have just went out there and just did your due diligence and not falling into that trap, like, oh, he's just a running quarterback. Well, look at him now. So I just think that sometimes, like,
the Saints got both.
Yeah. I think sometimes, Jordan, I think the Saints care about sometimes trying to be the smartest organization in the room instead of just being, you know what I'm saying, just like they trying to show how smart they are. Like going out there getting a guy like Kevin White who has been an absolute disaster his entire career. Like Sean Payton coming here like, okay, you know what I'm saying, y'all couldn't do nothing with him, but watch what I do with him. It seems like that. It seems like there's a level of arrogance with this organization, and I just feel like sometimes it causes them. Like even with the draft pick with the Eagles, I bet they never thought in their wildest dreams that they would be in this position right now. And their arrogance is the one that told them to make that trade. Because now, you know, the Eagles looking like one of the greatest front office in all of the NFL, and the Saints are looking like the dumbest, to be honest. So, that's just the way I feel about it. What else you got, man?
Nah, that's it, man. But yeah, you stay safe, man.
All right, man.
Let me finish the show, bro. Keep it up.
All right, man. Appreciate it, Jordan, man. Call back anytime.
All right, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Jordan making some points. You know, I know he was saying like not to blame Dennis Allen. Not going to completely just make it seem like every bad situation that happened with the New Orleans Saints is because of Dennis Allen. I mean, Dennis Allen ain't fumbling the football. Dennis Allen ain't jumping off sides. You know, so Dennis Allen ain't racking up 100 yards in penalties, and you know, ain't being one of the most. Being the most undisciplined team in all of the league. But at the same time, I just think that there has to be something that's instilled inside of you, and I don't feel like he has it from a leadership standpoint. As an organizer, I feel like he's the right guy. But when it comes down to when it comes down to believing in what you're doing and trying to instill that stuff in real time, I don't feel like he has it. Jameis is the greatest quarterback in Bucs history, not named Brady. First 5 years track with Peyton Manning numbers, offensive rookie of the year, Pro Bowl quarterback, 5,000 yards, second in the league in touchdowns in 2020. Yeah, Supernola, thank you very much for the comments, man. Y'all check out Supernola's Instagram page as well as him on Twitter. You know, he's a really good photographer and videographer doing his thing out there. But yeah, look, we all know that Jameis Winston has talent. We all know that he has great arm strength. The biggest issue that a lot of people had is just his decision making. And the question is, can he change that, right? Because I feel like, okay, everybody was going into the season 14 touchdowns, 3 picks, including myself. We was like, man, okay, we can build on something like that. But, you end up getting injured, and, him going out there, and this is the part where I really feel bad about. He went out there and he played, and he really just tried to put his best foot forward, but those injuries started to really pile up. I mean, he came into the year coming off a torn ACL. Like, that's something that you have to look at. Then on top of that, he missed the Green Bay Packer game due to an ankle injury. So you have a repaired ACL, dealing with an ankle, and then all of a sudden in the first game, you end up, hurting your back. So, but regardless of what he's actually going through, the reality is nobody cares. Like nobody cares if you're hurt. Nobody cares that, that you're going through something. The only thing that they realize is the number 2 across your front and across your back and Winston over the back. So if that means if you're out there, that means that you're well enough to play. I feel that the decision to let Jameis Winston not play in London should have came a little bit earlier than that. I think that they should have been like, hey, Jameis, we see what you're doing, man. You got the warrior spirit. We appreciate that, but we want to sit you down. And we don't want you to, aggravate the injury any further. We're going to roll with Andy. So let's just say if they would have rolled with Andy a couple games earlier, who knows what the season would have been like. You would have had an able-bodied quarterback out there. Jameis would have been, repairing. So now it's like, and then on top of that, the worst decision I've ever seen, why in the world would your management team come out there and disclose that injury? Like, why would you do that? Now teams are just going to be targeting in on you because they understand you're a stationary target. So to me, I just feel like it was, I don't know, man. The Saints have been making some really bad decisions. Even like some of the decisions like with Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray end up, getting activated and getting picked up by the Denver Broncos. Tony Jones Jr., the same exact thing. It's just like the little small things that you expect, the Saints to have their hands on. It's like they slipping through the cracks. And now I just think that, you shouldn't have put them in that particular position because now we don't know. A lot of people are like, okay, this is what Jameis is on one hand. And then other people are like, well, he hurt. So who do you actually believe? Like, who are we supposed to believe? Are we supposed to believe, that he's hurt? Or are we supposed to believe that, this 2019 Jameis Winston? So I just feel like the Saints put themselves in that position. And I just think that they should have went with Andy a little bit early and allowed Jameis Winston to deal with the injuries that he dealt with. And if he was, close to being 100% healthy, then put him out there. And then, you wouldn't have these issues about, he a turnover machine, this, that, and the third. So I don't know. They kind of just set themselves up. I'm going to put the link in there. I'm going to take maybe like 2 more calls. So the first 2 people that hit that link, it'll be like next 2 people that I get. So whoever rolls in here, I'm going to take 2 more calls, then we're going to get up out of here. Jay Glazer got the injury information from a snitch in the organization. Well, if he got it from a snitch in the organization, that snitch in the organization needs to be fired. Just like whoever put out that footage with with Poole and Draymond Green, I feel like it should be the same way because you got to be able to trust the people within your organization. And if you can't trust those, I'm sorry, my bad. I think I put the wrong link in there. My apologies, folks. Let me go back to it. I was actually making a soundbite in the process. I was actually making a soundbite in the process as I was talking. Yeah, so I had to put this in.
I'm getting cooked.
I had to get back there, since the cornerbacks had such a rough outing. Yeah, but I just put the link in there, the new link. The first 2 people that hit that link, those are the next 2 people that we're gonna reach out, and then we're gonna go ahead and end the show. Yeah, but anybody like that put that information out there, they ought to be fired. Like they should be fired like yesterday. Right, Barbara, 4 fractures in your back, that's painful. Could be almost in a wheelchair. Man could die on the field. Yeah, I mean, it was just a bad decision. We're gonna go with Jeffrey.
Yeah. What's up, bro?
Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it, man.
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, man. What you got for us?
All right, so my thoughts on Jameis Winston. I really think like he's a really good quarterback, right? Yes, he has his issues with the turnovers and all that.
Right.
But in my opinion, I think we should wait until he's fully healthy before we start him. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just think that you need to hold off on it.
Hold off on him, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, man, I feel bad because once again, I think they should have went with Andy a little bit earlier when they knew this. Because if they had shouts out to the brother Supernova. I mean, look, he really close with Jameis Winston. He close to the situation. He's the one, like the videos that we see of Jameis Winston like throwing, and he's the one that's producing those things. So if there is a snitch in the organization, then he needs to be fired. But at the same time, I feel like the organization knew about this. So why in the world would you allow this dude to come out there and play? He's going to say, yes, I want to play.
Yeah, he has that heart.
So you got to protect him. You got to protect him from himself, just like you did in Minnesota. That Minnesota game in London, you should have did that prematurely, and who knows where the Saints would have been. At this point, you probably would have had a better record than what you have right now.
And in my opinion, against the Bengals, our defense just let up. They just let them complete passes on them.
Right.
They play too safe, in my opinion.
Yeah, too conservative with the play calling for my liking. I think that they need to get a little bit better when it comes to aggression. Maybe we'll see that down the stretch, but Jeff, I highly doubt it, man. Look, you can't fake the funk, man. You can't fake it. It's rather you got it or you don't. And I just feel like at this particular moment, they just don't have it. And I don't think it's just something that you can actually grow from. But shouts out to Jeff. I think we lost him. I'll try to squeeze in a few more. Let's go to Shaq. Shaq, what's going on?
Yo, TJ, what's up, my boy?
Man, what's going on, man? Appreciate it, man. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, bro. Yo, one thing about this situation, like with the way the season's going right now, I feel like the local media does not hold like the front office and the coaches accountable. Like we looking for as fans, it's very frustrating. Like the last 2.5 years, Mike T has been hurt, right? And we can't get any answers. Like as fans, like we pay money to watch this team, we buy merch, we check in the internet every day for updates on the team, and it's like, yo, we can't get any type of update on the star player. And you look at somebody like Dak Prescott, he breaks his hand, and immediately after the game, like oh, he's gonna be out for this many weeks. Like, how do you feel about that as far as the local media and covering the team?
Well, number one, it's because of Sean Payton. Sean Payton is a disciple of Bill Parcells, and Bill Parcells didn't disclose injuries. He just didn't do it. He felt like it would have it adds a competitive advantage for your opponent if they know who's hurt, what's the severity of it. It helps them to game plan. So, that's kind of the culture that the New Orleans Saints have. As far as the Michael Thomas comments, look, you have a few people within the Saints media that was willing to write about it. A lot of people talk about Jeff Duncan, and they talk about him writing the article. They call it a hit piece. A lot of people don't really care that much for Jeff Duncan, but I mean he wrote a piece about Michael Thomas that a lot of people didn't like, but he was willing to have the balls to express himself and say those things. So for that, I can respect it. But I mean, I understand why they're not doing it, because Michael Thomas is the star of the team and you're trying to protect him, but there's only so much protection that you can do. My biggest issue with Michael Thomas, Shaq, not so much about the injuries, it's just the fact that how he just goes ghost. Like,
right. That's how I feel.
Like, when you go see wide receivers working out in the offseason, you see Landry there, you see Olave there, you see Quan Baker there, you see Traquan there, all these receivers that's in the room, and then you don't see Michael Thomas. And then you'll see like Olave on the sidelines. You'll see all these other guys, but you don't see Michael Thomas. Like, Michael Thomas is a leader. Michael Thomas is your leading receiver. He's the guy, if he says something, then those guys are going to listen because of the talent that he possesses, and he's nowhere to be found. So I don't know exactly what it is. I just think that even if he's not out there, at least let him be on a roll with you. Hell, they played at home yesterday. So I know you had to be in New Orleans somewhere. So why weren't you at the game? Or maybe he was on the sidelines. If somebody was at the game and you saw Michael Thomas on the sidelines, let me know. But at the same time, I feel like some of those type of things matter to me. That matters to me, like him being out there. But I don't know if the Saints media, I see some people like holding them accountable, but at the end of the day, you can ask, like, shouts out to Captain Terrell. Like, Captain Terrell always asks about injuries. But what can you do if you're asking and they're like, well, I'm not going to get into injuries. Like, what more can you do? What can you tell them? Like, come on, man. Like, we need to know. Like, they still not going to tell you. So,
yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, another problem I have, too, is, like, just with the decision making, right? Like, I feel like the team is just not held accountable enough compared to other organizations. Like, even look at yesterday, right? Like, you got guys like Trey Hendrickson, Von Bell, even Eli Apple to an extent. He did have a bad game yesterday, but you got these guys over here playing well, and we're losing key players just because the organization is making poor decisions. Like, you keep Marcus Davenport over Trey Hendrickson. Like, right now, you can't ask 10 Saints fans one that would take Marcus Davenport over Trey Hendrickson right now. Same thing with Von Bell. You go ahead, you pay Marcus May, you pay Tyrann Mathieu. You could have took both of those contracts and gave that to Marcus Williams. They could have paid CD Deuce. They didn't even have to pay CD Deuce, in my opinion. They could have moved him to safety and then probably paid him after the season because he obviously wanted that bigger contract.
Right.
Like, this team just consistently makes poor roster decisions. It's just frustrating when you see these guys balling for other teams, and they play well against us all the time.
Yep. Yeah, that's a very frustrating. But I think a lot of that has to do with the organization's arrogance. Like, man, these people, they're arrogant. They got egos too. Like, if you don't think these guys look at some of these dirt sheets, you don't think they read some of these, like, these Monday morning quarterback statements, or they not looking at some of these debate shows. Like, they look at these things. When Mickey Loomis hears, the Saints are in cap hell, what are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do now? Like, they're in cap hell, right? Like, they hear these things and they're like, oh yeah, well, let me show you. So I think that there's a lot of arrogance going on around there. You know, the fact that I think they had Sean Payton for so long, he was able to do some things with very limited, spots, and you was able to kind of, add this guy. May not be as good as others, but yeah, you can definitely see there's a difference in the safety play and the defense when these guys aren't there. Okay, when they aren't out there and they're playing for another team, it's so obvious that you can see that. But it's two things that's going to happen here. Is rather they're going to learn from their mistakes, or they're going to continue to exercise these practices and they're going to find themselves on the outside looking in, because you're not going to be able, like, I feel like Sean Payton can disguise a lot of the inconsistencies that you have or the imperfections that you have by the coaching. But what can you do when a coach is not as good as the other coach that he replaced? So to me, you had to go out here and get some star power on the team. You didn't have to do that with Sean Payton, but I don't know, man. Maybe some of these practices that they had when Sean Payton was there, maybe they'll try to change them around because they have to account for the coach that's there at that particular time. You got anything else?
Nah, that's it, bro. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem, Shaq, man. Take it easy.
You too, man.
All right. I apologize to everybody that's on the link. I'm gonna take one more, and then I have to go ahead and get up out of here, man. So I apologize. I had to go with Tay. Then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man, because I got something I need to do in like 2:45 Eastern Standard Time. So this is the last one. We're gonna go with Tay. Tay, how you doing, man?
Yo, what's up, TJ, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I've been wanting to get on this and talk to you for a while now, but I'm not gonna lie, I've just been a little nervous, so I never did it. But today I just can't stop myself, man.
Nah, there's no problem. I appreciate
I remember very clearly the 14 through 16 seasons and how much pain were in those seasons. You know what I'm saying? And I stayed a fan. I kept with it. So many games we could have won all 3 of those years, and they all ended in heartbreaking fashion, man. So that's really the vibes I'm getting so far from this season. And I just got to run some things by you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Now, go ahead and take a guess. Which team would you say is number 1 in turnover differential, if you could just take a guess?
Who's the number 1 team in turnover differential?
They have the best record. I'll go ahead and give you a hint. It's the Eagles, man. The Eagles by far have the best turnover differential. You know who dead last is?
I would have to say the Saints.
It's our Saints, bro. It's us, and it's by far. It's down bad, man. Like, Our defense has one pick, and that's the only thing Matthew has done noteworthy this season that wasn't bad. We have, I think, 5 or 6 fumbles, and I think 1 or 2 of those from special teams. Like, we are turning the ball over at an alarming rate, and we're not getting the ball back. That's not good football. We are consistently rushing 4, and we're not getting home. How many first-round picks are on our D-line, TJ, and we're not getting pressure with them? Like, come on now, bro. That's not good football.
Yeah.
Kicking field goals in the red zone. Okay, look, this is one thing I like to bring up. The NFC Championship game against the Rams. Why did we lose that game? A lot of people are going to say because of that penalty. And sure, the no call didn't help, okay? But you know what really happened? We got in the red zone like 3 times and came away with 3. That's not how you win games, man. You got to put that thing in there. Like, Will Lutz made like, what, 4 or 5 field goals? Yeah, we need 6, bro. Like, and I'm sorry. It's just so frustrating, man. Like, another thing I gotta say, I'm a big Jameis fan, and it's probably to a fault, you know what I'm saying? But I love Jameis. I love him as a leader. I love him as a man. I love his skill set, you know what I'm saying? Like, and last year I was the happiest fan in the world whenever he was 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. We had a 5-2 record, but nobody wants to bring that up. When people want to criticize Jameis, they bring up the 30 for 30, or they bring up his performance this year when he had a hurt back, and I think that's unfair, man. Now, yes, I agree he shouldn't have been out there playing hurt. But come on, man, judge the man healthy. Like he's got everything, all the tools that a franchise quarterback needs to have. You know what I'm saying? And I think leadership is very, very underrated when people determine who should be the next guy up. And I think Jameis is a fantastic leader, man. That's something you can't coach. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love Jameis so much.
Yeah, I mean, I said that it's rather you have it or you don't. Like, being a leader is something that you're just born with. Like, I don't think that it's something that you can grow into. Now, you can learn a system. Like, you can learn a system. You can learn I take it like from just an everyday standpoint. Let's just say for an individual that gets into management, right? You can learn like the philosophies and the disciplines, but it's going to come a time where you're going to have to rely on your team to respond. And you're going to have to ask yourself, like, how can I get this team to respond? And you can know all the practices it takes to make something run. But if you can't get your team involved, you can't get them on board, you're still going to not be successful. And I just think that when it comes to Dennis Allen, I think he knows what he's doing, like as far as like the X's and O's. But I just think it takes a special type of coach in order for you to get that out of a guy. A guy has to look at you and know for a fact that you have their best interests at heart and you're not blinking or you're not flinching in certain situations. And I'm seeing a lot of blinking and I'm seeing a lot of flinching, man. And
I'm just blank, TJ, but what was the name of the Falcons coach? He started as the defensive coordinator in Seattle. He brought him to the Super Bowl. It was something Quaid or
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. I'm getting real Dan Quinn vibes from Dennis Allen, man. I don't like it. Like, great defensive coordinator, but the man can't do what he's trying to do right now, man. Like,
I mean, look what he got. Look how he got the Dallas Cowboys defense looking. You know,
right. Like
some people just naturally born that way. Like I'm just saying, like some people are coordinators, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like Dennis Allen, if this doesn't pan out in New Orleans, he gonna get a defensive coordinator job somewhere.
Like you were saying the other day, TJ, he gonna link up with Sean Payton. Once you said that really put it in my mind, bro. I was like, wait a second.
Like I'm being real with you. Think about this.
Hey.
Why are we thinking about it? And for those that didn't check out the yesterday's episode, check this out. So what if Sean Payton, not Sean Payton, but Dennis Allen is one and done, right? And let's say Sean Payton end up becoming a head coach of the Chargers. All right, we upset about Dennis Allen as a head coach. The Saints hire another head coach. You know, more than likely they're gonna want to get their own offensive coordinator. They're gonna want to call their plays. So that means Pete Carmichael gonna be out. So that means once again, Sean Payton can get hired. He can hire Dennis Allen as his defensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael as his offensive coordinator. And check this out. I can go a little deeper with you. Tell you something I didn't even say yesterday. But there's a guy who has won executive awards that's behind Mickey Loomis by the name of Jeff Ireland. So we put it past the New Orleans Saints. the Sean Payton to try to get Jeff Ireland, who has been under Mickey Loomis, as his general manager. So basically what you've been doing is basically making the New Orleans Saints in Los Angeles.
Right. And the one bright spot out of that is they're going to give us a pick for Sean Payton. That's the one bright spot out of it. You're not getting it for free. You know what I'm saying? So, and the last thing I'm going to say, TJ, I'm not going to hold you too long. Whenever you were talking about, I was watching the game and I didn't really miss, you know what I'm saying? I feel you. The receivers stood up. They did their job. But I got to say, whenever Jamal Chase scored as fast as he did, and I realized they weren't going to be able to milk the clock, my brother was happy. He's dapped me off. He's like, oh, that's the best thing that could have happened. Right. Maybe from the Saints that we grew up watching with Drew Brees and that kind of offense, yes. But as soon as that happened and I realized our offense that has to settle for field goals the whole game had to go down and get 6, my heart sank, bro. It really did. I was like, I don't see Andy Dalton pushing the ball like that. And you know what? I 100% would feel more comfortable with Jameis, who turns the ball over all the time, in that situation by one Andy Dalton. Because at the end of the day, Jameis is a playmaker, bro. He's got that in him. You know what I'm saying? Right. I would 100% feel more comfortable with at least one of Thomas, Landry, or Olave. You know what I'm saying? Because look, who'd that ball go to on fourth and long as hell? It went to Callaway, our only option we had left. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying Callaway's not like that, but come on, man. Like, you throw a jump ball at Thomas or Landry is different. You know what I'm saying? So, man, dude, it's just sad. I became a Saints fan the Super Bowl year. I moved from North Carolina, and in the year I was in Louisiana, I was like, dang, I should probably be a fan of this team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw them win a Super Bowl. I never knew how rare that feeling is, and I you know what I'm saying? I'm lucky to have seen that and witnessed that. But man, dude, like I was really missing our weapons in that moment because I just wasn't seeing like our offense the way it looked the whole day, going down there and getting 6 when we really needed to. Like maybe a field goal, but nah, man. Like in a 2-minute drill, I don't know if Andy Dalton's got that in him, bro. I don't know. Like
I agree. You know, like man, you cannot take a sack in a moment like that, man. You you sling that thing out of bounds.
And look, Jameis ain't perfect. He might as well have thrown a fucking I'm sorry to cuss, but he might as well throw a pick 6 in that situation. But you know what I'm saying? Like he's got the arm. He's like he sees things downfield, and he'll, like you said the other day, he'll give his guys chances. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Andy Dalton does that. Like,
I just think that when it all comes down to it, in desperation plays, like if it like you said, it turns out to be an interception at that particular point, who cares? But my biggest issue was, man, taking that sack in a moment like that, like you do not take you know what I'm saying? Like you
threw the ball away how many times that game? I mean, throw it away, man. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, like that was just bad business right there. But Tate, thank you so much, man, for the call.
I appreciate it, man. I've been a fan for about 2 years now, watching your podcast. You are my favorite Saints podcast by far. I watch them all, but you just keep it the most real. It's like I'm hearing from a fan. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not sugarcoating nothing. Like, I loved it, man. Like,
man, I appreciate it, man. Tate, you call back anytime, man.
All right, bro.
All right, take care. Yeah, man, I appreciate all the love, and shouts out to everybody that called in, making the show a success. I know we went a little bit longer, but I know a lot of people had some things they need to say, and I do apologize to those that tried to chime in. Hopefully I can get to you all the next show. I just got like about 5 minutes, and I gotta actually get my show prepped for when I go on the air at 3 p.m. here. So I do apologize. I'll read. Let's see. I got like 2 minutes. All right. So I'll read a few of your comments, and then we'll just go ahead and end the show air. Callaway has a hoop jump and ability. Yeah, I mean, look, he makes some spectacular catches. That's the one thing that I can say I miss Drew Brees about. Those 2-minute drills were the best. Don't know what you have until it's gone. I would be able to accept the L's more if we look like they cared. It's a lack of effort that be making me mad. The body language too. I agree. Peyton going to the Chargers. Let TJ finish, bro. Look, man, I don't be like, jumping over people and stuff like that. But sometimes, people make some good points. And I don't think he jumped. It was more like me jumping over him. And I apologize for that. Defense not making plays when needed. NFL needed to investigate the way the Eagles been bending us over with the deals. Hey, that's the Saints' fault. The NFL ain't got nothing to do with that. We played better than the Bengals all game. You don't think they're not going to get the ball to Chase? I knew they were going to get him that ball. Chargers winning. Don't need a coaching. Great show. Great broadcast, TJ. Thank you, man. We're missing William and Deuce. Stroll down a little bit more. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you. I love Callaway. He never disappoints. He make those tough catches. Stay strong. Keep the faith. It's not over yet. Who that nation? Looking like it, though. I ain't going to lie to you. JD says, let's not act as if we didn't have a bunch of disappointing seasons with Drew and Peyton. That's a good point, too. But here's the thing, JD. They build up enough cachet for us to be able to accept having those seasons. There's the old saying. It's better to be the man. It's hard to be the man after the man, right? And what you have is Jameis Winston, Dennis Allen, they following a tough act, right? And when Sean Payton and Drew Brees got here, well, there wasn't really nothing that you had to look forward to. I mean, they basically were playing with house money. So they put us in a different realm that we've never been in, which is consistent winning and being a legitimate contender every year, more times than not. So, of course, we're going to continue to give them the benefit of the doubt, because who were they following? Jim Haslett and Aaron Brooks? Huh? Mike Dicker, Jared Arnardo, who are they following? So they basically came into this thing playing with house money, right? They didn't even have to come with no money in their pocket. The house gave them the money. You know what I'm saying? Look, here you go, man. We're gonna set you up with $1,000 for you to be able to gamble with, $10,000 for you to gamble with. So the reality is they had, they ain't have nothing to lose. Versus now, we have a reputation now. Like we are talking from a team with reputation. We are talking from a team that has been spoiled with prosperity. So when they lost those games in those seasons, they won enough for us to be able to understand and say, okay, we're going to get them next year, coach. And they brought a Super Bowl championship to a snake-bitten franchise. So, of course, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. And what you have right now is people that's not accepting that because, hey, they set a standard. I mean, you get in a relationship and somebody treating you real good and everything going right, and then all of a sudden something tragic happens, and then you have to find yourself going out there dating again, and all of a sudden this person set the standard for you, and you're like, I don't know about that, man. Like, normally I would go here. Normally they'll treat me like this. Like, it's hard for you to kind of go backtrack, right? You want a better situation. You want a better situation than what you were actually in the first place. So we can't accept mediocrity. You can't come out the gate with mediocrity. Now, if you put together a few winning seasons and then you have you sputter down a stretch, Dennis Allen comes into this thing sputtering. Okay, Sean Payton came into this thing going to the NFC Championship game. This man, first year as the head coach of the Saints, went to the NFC Championship game. About 4 years later, they won the Super Bowl. And every year after that, they pretty much was a legit contender in NFC, winning NFC South titles and being right there in the thick of things every single year. And that is the standard that they left behind. So it's hard for a Saints fan to accept mediocrity. And it's hard for us to accept, I understand. No, we don't. No, we don't. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate it. Shouts out to everybody that chimed in. Shouts out to everybody that commented, that came on the line. All those that are watching this right now, I ask that you hit the like button if you have not already. I ask that you subscribe if you have not already. We got previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. You can follow me on Twitter at TJAYJones8. And you can follow the State of the Saints podcast Facebook page, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Till next time, all I got to say is